I can't get my life together today, man.
It was a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, wait.
You can't do that in the middle.
I just want to see if it works. Oh, it does. It sounds awful, but it works.
Yeah, I got it full up.
Oh, that's awful. I sound like I'm underwater. Ooh, Perry White voice.
It sounds really good. Because you have bass in your voice.
Yeah, I sure do. Good morning, upstate South Carolina, and welcome to the most sensual sports show in all of America. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Getting your day started with the sexiest sports talk of all. It's a good thing you wake up with no pants on. I don't know. I don't know who I'm talking to.
No, your mom's on there, so I don't.
Oh, is she?
I don't know if you want to continue.
That's a hell of a start. Yeah, turn that off.
Yeah, I
got weird real quick, didn't it?
Yeah,
I got weird real quick.
Yeah. I just you're welcome.
Good save.
Yeah,
I didn't have the stream chat up. Good save. I was about to get weird. Madre's in Ireland right now. She's on a little vacation. Went to the motherland for vacation. She's not actually. I don't know. I don't think she's not Irish. The Irish is on my dad's side. She's French Cajun. So I guess Canada. We got to go to Canada next.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I do. Canada's beautiful. My brother went to Canada. He said it was lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Played a bunch of golf up there. Said it was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, that's you don't want to play golf. Let's go to Canada.
Yeah.
Says who? Just your brother?
It's not like Winterfell. It's not only snow and ice all the time.
Yeah.
What a dork reference. What Game of Thrones reference at 6:02
Yeah. I think Bryan Adams, and I stop me at the border if I even think about going there. No. Because he's
Bryan Adams, who's not even that bad, against an entire country.
Oh, Bryan Adams sucks, man. He's not only is he a bad singer, but from what I understand, not a good person. So,
well, there's a lot of people in entertainment that aren't good people. It doesn't make them suck.
If you're not a good person, you pretty much suck. Yeah, I would. I think that goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand. Sorry. Pigs in space.
Beautiful. I was turning that up so you could play the suck cut, but it would just set you up perfect. I get.
What do you want?
You're not together. I get it.
Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in the Rob Brown radio program. Is on the air, on the air, on some air. I had to tell you, dude, I need Saturday like yesterday.
Well, I'm guessing maybe it stormed as bad here as it did everywhere else.
Gnarly with a capital G.
Yeah, it's nothing like I think it was 1:50 a.m. when my phone goes off with the tornado warning. It's
does yours do that? Mine does that.
No, it's a what you call it. It's international. I don't know that they do it there. But
but does your phone make that
sound?
sound?
Yeah, it does.
Mine does too. And mine did.
I think everyone's phone does that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead.
It's a National Weather Service thing. I think.
But there's got to be a way to make that not be a thing.
No, there's not.
I would rather.
My phone, dude, my phone is off and down, and it still went off.
I would rather
be
taken by surprise by a tornado in the middle of the night in my sleep than have the heart attack that comes with a 145 while I'm fast asleep. I would rather be swept into the great beyond than have that moment of terror in my life.
Yeah, when we went to bed, we already knew there were tornado warnings and about the time that they were supposed to come through. And so when it went off, I knew exactly what it was. And then, immediately you're afraid. And when it went off at our house, there was nothing. So you heard nothing. And there's a calm before tornadoes actually hit, because unfortunately I've been around them a ton. And it's like, oh crap, I don't hear anything going on. We might actually be in the path of a tornado. And then thunder, lightning came through, and just like every hour, it would calm down a little bit. I'd fall back asleep, and then you'd hear the wind moving through the trees to a degree where you think, yep, going to get impaled. That's how it's going to, tree's going to come right through this thing, right through me. And that's how I go.
Don't care. I'd rather go out that way than over and over.
One thing that didn't happen for us, and I waited and I know that they exist out there, is I didn't hear any tornado sirens. So I got the phone thing, so I was waiting.
Do we have those here? I don't think we have those here.
I'm pretty sure we do.
I don't think we do.
I'm pretty sure
that's a
I heard
Midwestern thing.
I'm pretty sure I heard them when we first moved here. I could be wrong.
Does anybody out there that maybe works for Greenville County, works for Anderson County, works for any of the surrounding counties, can anyone tell us, are there? I don't think that there are.
I'm pretty sure that. I mean, I could be misremembering. That is a possibility. But I'm pretty sure that there are.
All right, we got to look into that. I'm genuinely curious. But I know I've been here 4 years. I know we've had tornadoes in the area, and I've never heard them. Maybe it's just where I am. I don't know. All right, we got a lot. We got a lot to get to in Sportslandia today that we got to talk about. Nikola Jokic now a 3-time and 3 out of the 4 last years. 3 out of the 4 years. 3 out of the 4 most recent years?
According to the internet, some areas of South Carolina have tornadoes.
Well, yeah, okay. Some areas of everywhere have things. That doesn't help. Do we have them here? The place where I'm asleep. That's what I need to know. Also, what would be more terrifying, that at 2 a.m. or tornadoes?
The sirens. The sirens, because there's one on the pole at the edge of my yard. And
have you heard it go off?
No, growing up, dude.
No, I mean like now, like it's a compound.
No,
I thought you meant there's one in the compound.
No. Growing
Gotcha.
in Ohio, there was one on the pole, and so as loud as they have to be for everyone to hear it, imagine one basically in your front yard. It like pierces your heart and your soul, to where as a kid I'd go hide under the table, which is a safe place to be during a tornado. If there is a safe place.
Dexter says Williamston has tornado alarms. Texter says Spartanburg County has tornado sirens. And another texter says Spartanburg County still uses a few. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard one before. And I mean, I guess that's good. I guess I should be thrilled that I've never heard a tornado siren before. But I don't think I've ever heard one before.
It's one of my biggest childhood fears, because I saw a couple tornadoes come. We live at the end of a dead end street, come straight down the road and go up over our house and hit stuff behind us. It just, I mean, because you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. And I've told the story a bunch of times. I saw the movie Twister at a drive-in that had been torn down by a tornado a few years before, and an actual tornado warning went off during the drive-in scene.
Cow. I think that's the same cow.
During the drive-in scene, like, what is that? And it was the old-timey speakers that you put in your window. And I'm like, yeah, it's on the thing. And I turned it down, and then they turned the movie off for a minute. It's like, oh, crap. You know.
Texas said there's one right across the county line near Five Forks, and I can hear it if the wind blows right. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard one. All right, we got to get to some sports. We got a 3-time MVP winner in the National Basketball Association. Nikola Jokic wins it for the 3rd time in his career, becomes the 9th player in the history of the NBA to be a 3-time MVP. He has won it 3 out of the last 4. If you ask me, he should have won it 4 out of the last 4. I thought he deserved it more than Joel Embiid last year. But this year, not only does he win it, but he wins it by like a lot. He got 79 of the first place votes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Oklahoma City was second with 15. Luka Doncic checked in third with just 7 first place votes in the MVP voting. It was Nikola's award, and it was never a doubt, as the kids say. Never a doubt. So congrats to Yoke for getting. So later on, we're going to ask the question, not only where does Nikola Jokic rank in terms of all-time MVP winners, because I think that's a fun discussion to have based on the names that are 3-time winners. Names like Bird, names like Jordan, names like Johnson, names like Abdul-Jabbar, names like Russell. Where does Nikola Jokic fit? And it got me thinking a little bit about Nikola Jokic, and it got me thinking a little bit about the modern era of NBA basketball and kind of how we view players. Because this is, in Nikola Jokic, this is a 3-time NBA MVP. He's a guy that if you followed the sport for the last couple of years, a lot of us genuinely believe he should be a 4-time NBA MVP. And not just a 4-time, but 4 consecutive. This dude is iconic. This dude is iconic. He is the first center to win the NBA MVP in over 60 years. You've got to go all the way back to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 73 through 76 for the last time a big man won the award 3 times. But when I read those names, when I read the names of 9-time winners. Thank you, Booker T. When I read the names of 9-time winners, even though I am a huge Jokic guy, even though I love watching this cat play because it's so, I don't know, unorthodox, hell, boring, if we're being honest. As much as I love this guy, I found it difficult yesterday to push back on a content creator online who said that as good as Jokic is, he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation with the other winners, the other all-timers. Doesn't deserve. He's got as many MVPs as Wilt Chamberlain, Moses Malone, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. He needs 1 more to catch Bill Russell. He needs 2 more to catch Michael Jordan. He needs 2 more to catch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he needs 1 more to catch LeBron James. He needs 1 more to catch LeBron James. And yet, I came across yesterday a basketball dude on YouTube. Nope, TikTok, because I'm a grown-up. Shut up. I came across a basketball dude on TikTok who said, if you put the name Nikola Jokic into the discussion with Malone, Bird, Johnson, James, Jordan, Abdul-Jabbar, then, and this is where I lost my mind, so he said, you don't know ball. And I went,
uh-oh.
I know. Like I had to set the phone down on the table. Like, excuse me, man in the box? Excuse me? I absolutely do know ball. But I really started thinking about it. Great one. This guy's got that average last year, a triple-double. If this guy walked on the floor, it was a triple-double night. That's how good he was. And yet, when this cat said, I can't say his name in the same breath as Jordan, as Russell, I don't know what that is.
That was me. And then that's another one.
Oh, man, you are on a tear this AM.
Yeah. So the autoplay got me this time.
Yep, it happens. Ban the website. It's banned. Can't go back.
No, I was trying to click the thing that takes you to the top of X, and I accidentally clicked the video. It's not. It's my fault.
It's all good. I almost played a Mick Foley video a few minutes ago before I remembered to mute the website.
Thank goodness what I clicked on was just a basketball.
Yeah,
game.
that could have been way worse.
Yes.
All right. So this guy said you should not mention the name Jokic with the name Jordan, with the name James, with the name Bird, with the name Johnson. And on one hand, I really wanted to push back against that. I really wanted to go, wait a minute, why not? This guy's a 3-time MVP. He's a world champion.
Is that a hot take, or is that someone still hanging on to their guys and don't want anyone getting near them?
No, this is a younger kid. This guy's in his like mid-20s.
Doesn't mean it
20s.
can't be their guy. Some people, discover vinyl, and then that band is their band, and whatever you say.
I mean, I get it. You're not wrong, but it's just let's be real. That's very unusual. It's very unusual. So I don't know, because this cat says, all right, you can't put Jokic, despite the fact that he's a 3-time MVP, despite the fact that he is a world champion, and I don't think he's going to get another one this year, but hey, they're only 2 games into a 7-game series. We'll see. Despite the fact that this guy has done everything for the past 4 years to be thought of as, in my opinion, the best basketball player in the association right now. Jalen Brunson's about to give him a run. But for the past 4 years in total, the best player in the association for 4 years now. And when he said you can't put him in the conversation with Jordan and James and Bird and Johnson, like I really wanted to push back. And the only argument I have is, yeah, I know he's boring, but he's still real good. Is that what you think the deciding factor is for this cat, for a lot of y'all, that prevents you from saying Jokic's name alongside these greats, is the fact that, yeah, his game is boring versus traditional MVPs who are, ever since Abdul-Jabbar in the late 70s, electrifying?
Not everybody nerds out for the numbers. They want to see the flash, and he doesn't really have it.
I think that's it, right? I think that's it. This man averaged 26, 12, and 9. He was in the top 10 of each of those statistical categories. He had 25 triple doubles. He averaged almost 60% from the floor. He is 7 feet tall, Lonzo.
Yes, Rob, and you can't teach that.
You can't teach that. And yet shot 36% from the three-point arc. This guy did everything on the floor, but it was not flashy. In fact, it's quite the opposite. He's got some of the ugliest three-point shooting you're ever going to see, but it goes in all the time. Is it fair for us to take Nikola Jokic out of the conversation of like America's favorite basketball players because he's boring? I really want to say no, but in a weird way, I kind of understand a little bit. Because at the end of the day, we watch sports for what? To be entertained. And if we're keeping it a buck, he's a boring-ass basketball player. A really good one. Very efficient, but he's kind of boring. All right, coming up on the show today at 8:20, Julie Carlson, head coach of the Greenville Liberty, will join us. The Liberty play their first USL W League home match of the season coming up tomorrow evening. I will be on the play-by-play call for that one. Rashad Beard, unfortunately, out today. He's got to go participate in his real job this morning, so he's going to move till tomorrow, as will Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph tomorrow on the show. But we do have Fight Club with the great Lonzo coming up at 9:20 this morning, so make sure you're here for that. Going to be a busy day. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate.
Yeah, I get it, Zach. I live in Gray Court, so that same storm. It
Oof.
just, yeah, it was rough. Lee Rogers down the hall on our brother station, WORD, comes from Williamston, and he was telling me how bad the stuff was out there. Yeah, I thought for sure. I dressed in I wore real shoes today, something I don't normally do, and because I figured I was going to have to get out of the car and move branches. Rocked a hoodie this morning with the hood up, which messed with my hair the rest of the day. It's my kind of problem, not yours, of course. But I really didn't have that many branches down. I did hydroplane though. I'm not surprised by that, Zach, because man, some of that was rough. And they don't send out that warning on your phone usually unless there is an actual sighting of an actual tornado. I'm laying there listening to my wife sleep thinking, good for you. It's one of those, I'm already up. I should get up and go to work. But that would mean I'd have to go outside in this. No, I'm going to go back to sleep if I can. It's like it messed some stuff up really bad in some other states too. Tennessee. And
yeah. I was on Twitter last night and it was just chaos. You would have enjoyed the end of this Florida-Boston game last night. There were a dozen fights and 146 penalty minutes handed out due to it.
Wow.
Oh, they were
real fights? Or,
oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Kachuk and Pasternak were beating the crap
Why
out
is
of
there
each
a dead rat on the
that's their thing. They're the rats.
That's a fake rat, right?
Yes.
It wasn't a real rat.
Correct. Texas said, Rob, maybe I'm in the minority, but I'd rather have a boring W than a flashy L. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think you're
I don't think you're alone in that. And I do think most sports fans would claim that to be true about themselves, that they would prefer a boring dub over a flashy L. And I would agree, and I think Lonzo would agree, and I'd be willing to say that the majority of the audience would say the same thing. However, if you're not talking about your team, if I'm not talking about the Pelicans, if I tune into a basketball game, I want to be entertained. Now, this is kind of a fun spin-off conversation for me. It's a conversation I've had many times, and I am curious as to where you fall on it. If I am watching a basketball game or a football game or a soccer game or a hockey game or whatever that my team is not involved in, I want to be entertained, but what does that mean? And I think that's where this conversation gets interesting, because some people want to be entertained. If we are talking basketball, for instance, I think some people want to be entertained by a dunk contest within a game. Some people want to be entertained by just an unhinged back and forth offensive explosion. Let's talk baseball for 1 second, because I had this conversation with a couple of friends last year. We were going down to the Battery. We were going over to Atlanta to watch the Braves play. And I don't exactly remember who the pitching matchup was. I know Max Fried. Was it Max Fried? One of the two aces was on the bump. Maybe it was Strider.
Somebody was pitching that night.
One of the two dudes was on the bump for the Atlanta Braves last year. And I was in the car with, I think, three dudes. It was we were having a bro night in the ATL. And we were having a discussion because with 2.5 hours to kill on the way to the Battery, I said, let's say tonight we get to see a bit of baseball history. What would you like to see out of the Braves? What would be the thing that if we walk out of here and go, we are in a select group of people who got to see this one thing that very few people get to see in a baseball game? What is that thing that you would like to see? And they all had their answers. One guy's like, I'd like to see a 5-home run game out of somebody.
So a perfect game has to be in there, doesn't it?
That was my answer.
Yeah.
That was my answer.
While boring, it's still, I mean, you know.
It's incredible. I want to see a perfect game. And one of the fellas who does not live here anymore, this isn't why. I'm not saying
they done kicked him out of the state.
He said, I've got to think, I understand how special a perfect game would be, But I've got to think that a perfect game would be boring as hell. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with the Jokic conversation, is when we are talking about the players that we place amongst the all-time greats. I feel like, realistically, the majority of us do it based on who's the most entertaining to us. Who entertained me the most? I was wildly entertained, as I am the same age as him, by the growth and development of LeBron James. That is one of the reasons that I absolutely place LeBron James in the GOAT debate. But I also know a lot of people who are older than me refuse to do that. I know there are a lot of people who are slightly older than me that go Kobe. I know there are a lot of people slightly my age or older than me that go Michael. I know guys that are older than that go Magic or Bird. I know guys older than that will still bring up the name Oscar Robertson as the most talented NBAer of all time. And I think it really does go back to who entertained you the most. I've told Lonzo about this off the air many times. There is a skit, I may have even mentioned it on the air. There is a skit that Chris Rock did one time where he said, you know what your favorite music is when you get old? It's the music that was playing the first time that you started doing the old unskinny bop. The first time that you got naked with the opposite sex, or the same sex, whatever, live your life. The first time you got naked with somebody you found attractive, whatever music was the soundtrack of your life in that moment, that's your favorite music forever. And I know it's kind of a joke, but I do think there is some element of truth to whatever was the thing when you were in your prime, that's your favorite that. Video games were the best when you were in your high school going into college era. Music was the best. Movies were the best.
All right, I'm just going to disagree with the video game thing.
Maybe. But I will tell you right now, there's not much more the lady friend and I like to do than fire up the NES and play Super Mario.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm a snob. I can't go back to those graphics.
Oh, you absolutely are a snob.
That's fine. I had to be a snob in something. It might as well be that.
I go back to my roots frequently. But the point here...
I'm not playing an Atari 2600. That's my roots.
That's not too far. Okay, listen, Pong doesn't get it.
Yeah, I was there for that.
I'm talking like the Revolution. I'm talking about Mario. I'm talking about rescuing Peach.
Music, I'm okay with. Video game, you lost me on that one.
Either way, the point is, whatever the thing is that entertains us in our developmental era, that's what we consider the best thing. But here's why that's weird to me about Nikola Jokic. Because I don't think Nikola Jokic thrives in the NBA in a way that we have ever seen, or at least not since the 70s, we have seen other MVP athletes thrive. Joel Embiid, although he does not play a wildly flashy style of ball, Joel Embiid does play flashier ball than Nikola Jokic. Luka Doncic plays flashier ball than Nikola Jokic. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, flashier ball than Nikola Jokic. So yesterday, after this award got handed out, last night, as I'm watching the Knicks-Pacers game, as I'm watching the Bruins-Panthers boxing match that also had a hockey game around it, as I'm watching these games, I'm flipping around different sports talk radio channels on the Odyssey app, which you should get right now at AUDACY. Grab the Odyssey app, favorite the Fan Upstate. And you, as my mother is apparently doing, can listen to the show around the world. I now know for a fact, and I can claim truthfully, great one, we have listeners in Ireland. I think we already did.
Well, I already do on Saturdays, but there's a guy from Ireland on the show. So,
well, I'm not we.
Yeah,
this is we.
Yeah.
And in this we, now we have listeners in Ireland. Tell Odie's family we said hi.
Or don't.
Or don't. Mom's like, I don't drink whiskey or beer. What do I do? I'm like, figure out how. I don't know what to tell you. You're going to Ireland. Don't walk into it. I told her if she walks into an Irish pub and orders a white wine, I'm pretty sure she's getting laughed out of the country.
I think
Laughed out of the country.
that's a stereotype, and you don't know that for sure.
No, it's not a stereotype. It's very real. As in not quite Odie level Irishman, as he is actually Irish.
Yes, he is. Allegedly. He could be fooling us all. I don't know.
It's a hell of an acting gig he's doing.
Oh, it would be awesome if it was not real.
Anyway, point here is I'm flipping around on Odyssey apps, on the Odyssey app, listening to sports talk stations yesterday evening. There was a lot of discussion specifically from younger hosts. People that way, I'm a younger host, but people even younger than me.
Come on.
I'm a younger host.
Come on,
dude. Let's be real. I'm a younger host.
Are you?
Yeah.
In sports?
Think about all the hosts we have on this station. Me, Cole, and Diesel are probably I believe I'm younger than Amy. I'm younger than Rome. I'm younger. Well, Bill Ryder, I think, is my age.
Are you talking about on this station, not in the building?
I'm talking nationally. No,
okay.
Sports talk. I'm a
sports
young host.
talk. Okay.
I'm a young host.
Are you though?
Yeah.
Do you consider podcasters?
No, I'm talking on radio.
Or,
Everybody's got a podcast.
Or on TV.
There's too many podcasts. I think we should.
That's an old. That's an old man take.
100%. It is not an old man.
Does it water down the product? Because you don't have to listen to that podcast.
No, because I can say that everybody has a great podcast. Let's say everybody's podcast is amazing. There are too many good podcasts for me to keep up with.
Okay, so that's it. There are too many good podcasts.
I don't care that everybody has a podcast. I'm saying there are too many good ones to keep up with. I got an episode of LeBron and Reddick. I got one in New Heights. I got one of, I'm not subscribed to you, Patrick Beverly. Guess I can't talk to you.
Some of you guys need to do worse so Rob, has less to listen to.
So, as I listen to a lot of specifically younger hosts, because the younger hosts are your overnight guys, right? You got to cut your teeth in the.
That's usually how it works. But only on big markets, because smaller markets you're not going to get that.
Yeah, in overnight big markets, it is predominantly younger host. And so as I flipped around last night, specifically when I was catching up with younger hosts, there were a ton of them that were talking about how he didn't deserve this award. It should have been Shy's award, or it should have been Brunson's award, or it should have been this guy's or that guy's award. And there was the response primarily was because he's boring. And I went, that's subjective. But the guy's averaging 28, 10, and 9.
I know how to solve this, and you're going to look at me and go, yeah, you're just trying to be funny. Needs a better haircut.
Okay, you are trying to be
funny. No, I'm not. I'm not. If he has flair in how he dresses or something like that, it brings his game up in the young person's eyes.
I'm glad you said that. And I don't want to carry this over for a whole nother segment, so I'll just say it here. If Jokic was ripped, he was shredded.
Yeah.
He's not. Jokic looks like a 7-foot tall version of somebody at your family reunion. Right?
He's boring in every way. Yeah.
He looks boring. He plays boring, even if he averages 27, 10, and 9. He looks boring. He is boring. He doesn't want to hang out and do party stuff. He just wants to go home. Like, he is boring. He's also freaking elite. If he was ripped, we'd be putting him in the conversation with LeBron right now.
It's basically the same thing I said, but you just replaced hair.
Yeah, but you went with hair.
Yeah, but okay, fine.
If we spiked his hair, you think that does it? If he comes out looking like some 41?
Yeah, because he's
some 41.
I don't know. You're talking about video games. You're probably thinking like a shredding game, and they were in those.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
What was that one snowboarding game that had they were all
Alpine something?
I don't know, but I remember the first time I heard Sum 41.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah. First time I heard Sum 41 was on a snowboarding game. Oh, they're from Canada. Wow.
Who? Sum 41?
Yes. I just wanted to see what video games they've been in. Dude, there is a long list.
Oh, dude, punk music was every video game soundtrack for a long time.
I don't know why dude is the word of the day today, but
I'm a
apparently
big
it
dude
is.
guy. I'm
Yeah,
always a big dude
yeah,
guy.
but it's more so than. In 2001, they were on the X Games skateboarding game.
Yep.
Maybe that's where
I remember that one.
And a couple surfing games. MX, of course. NASCAR Thunder 2004. NFL Street.
NFL Street.
They were in the
NFL Blitz. What a throwback.
Oh, yeah.
Blitz was amazing. Blitz might be my favorite football game of all time.
That was something, but a lot of fun to watch. I can't remember exactly what that guy said. Unfortunately, I'm in a position because I talk about my hair often that if I say something about hair, obviously Rob thinks it's about me, and it's not.
It took me by surprise because I could name 9 things that I would change about Jokic to make him more globally appealing, and hair was not on.
His haircut is so boring. There's an old video that just popped up of John Cena. He's basically bald, but he's got a blonde flat top. Serious before any of that stuff.
The ruthless aggression era.
It's the first thing I see. I'm just saying.
All right, I want to have fun this morning because
why would we not have fun this morning? We're alive after last night. That should make you have fun.
It was pretty dicey there for a little while. You guys know that on this show, I would rather talk about things that are happening as opposed to abstract topics. You know what I mean when I talk about abstract topics. When we start doing speculation that is baseless. Now, speculation based on things that are happening is fine. It is one thing to ask, how many wins will so-and-so have next year? That's fine. We can do an over-under win total projection. But that is why
daggum Tigers are going to have at least 11 wins, and them stinking Gamecocks are only going to have 2.
That's not Boomhauer Clemson.
No. That was,
I want Boomhauer.
That was a guy who puts Clemson on the front of their name.
When you do that, to me,
I'm not going to say Bob or Tom or so, because chances are one of those guys are out there listening.
If we're going to have that discussion, I would rather that discussion be based on something. Let's talk about that when the recruiting class is finished up. Let's talk about that once the transfer portal closes up. Let's talk about that after something happens that gives us a more solid idea of what the future looks like. I think just about anybody can at just about any time break out speculation to carry a segment. I'd rather talk about things that are actually happening in sports, which is one of the reasons that I love being able to talk about every sport. I want to talk about what happened in the NHL Stanley Cup last night. I want to talk about what happened with Jalen Brunson leaving the game with an injured leg and then making a triumphant return in the second half.
Willis reading it.
Do what? Oh, Willis reading
Willis reading
it.
it. Yeah.
I was like, reading what? But then I heard you say Willis. Yeah. That's exactly right. Came back, scored 24-29 in the second half. But here's what I do want to get to. I do want to have an abstract thought experiment here. Earlier in the week, NBA player Austin Rivers made a comment. He said, quote, I can take 30 players right now in the NBA and throw them in the NFL. You cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA. Of course, before we get to addressing that, I cannot go any further in this conversation without pointing out the reply of one J.J. Watt, who said, and I quote, you don't got a job in either right now. Go ahead and try it, end quote. That's an excellent clap back. An excellent clap back. Lonzo, I submit to you a list of guys from the NBA that I think could fit into the NFL, and a list of guys in the NFL I think could fit into the NBA. Let me start with NBAers I think make the league. Give me your thoughts on them. I'm going to start with an obvious one. I'm going to go Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards' game is based on explosiveness and acceleration. Very fast. He's very fast. More importantly, he's very fast from a set position. You get him the ball, he waits till the defender breaks down into the defensive fundamentals, and then he's gone. He's going to the rim.
Some of these guys' height comes into play. I wanted to see how tall he is. He's 6'4".
6'4", 225.
He also has apparently a wingspan of 6'9".
6'9".
This is a wide receiver for sure.
A wide receiver.
Yes.
Anthony Edwards is, and not just a wide receiver. If he's got hands, and I'm making the assumption he can catch a football. If we make the assumption he can catch a football, Anthony Edwards starts in the NFL as a wide receiver today. Today. Hey, you'd have to teach him fundamentals. You'd have to teach him how to route run. You'd have to teach him how to be a wide receiver. But talent-wise, he could play in the league today. I'll give you another one. Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson, 6'6", 265. Here's what I love. I looked up. I said, I was putting like profiles together for these guys last night, and I put in Zion Williamson weight, and the response was 265 to 285.
Well,
what kind of shape you got to be in to not have your weight, to have your weight range listed? Come on, Z.
Did you look at Wikipedia when you did this?
No, I was looking up a draft profile page.
Okay, because I'm thinking, someone did that.
Yeah, it was like 265 to 285, and he can play anywhere in the middle. And I was like, well, good thing, because he's very frequently between the two.
All right, if he stays healthy, and because there's a rotation in it, I would go edge rusher.
That's exactly what I said. Yes. 6'6", 285, and fast enough, athletic enough. I would put him opposite of Cameron Jordan in New Orleans, and I think he'd be a good edge rusher. Here's another one. This guy is not necessarily a fair addition, but I'm going to take it for the sake of the argument. He was a dual threat quarterback in the 2020 recruiting class that received offers from Georgia, Iowa State, and others. Ultimately chose to go to Gonzaga on a basketball offer, Jalen Suggs. Every time Jalen Suggs is on TV.
I'm not familiar with Jalen Suggs. Height and weight?
Jalen Suggs is the shooting guard for the Orlando Magic. One of the reasons that Paulo Banchero and the gang made the playoffs. He goes 6'5", 205. That's quarterback. And by the way, was a quarterback that Kirby Smart offered a scholarship to. So he's done it before. Yeah,
it's weight a little small for a quarterback, but definitely could be that. I think quarterbacks are usually around 220, right?
I'm so proud of you right now. Because you could have
certified hater mode
gone after BY right there, and you didn't do it. And we're making you a better person, Lonzo.
No,
see that? That's growth. That's not the great one. That's the growing one. He sits under the learning tree.
We were talking about someone 6'5". I mean, why would I think of Bryce Young?
Ja Morant. You know where I put Morant? 6'2", 174.
DB, I guess. He's kind of small.
DB,
maybe safety
or Tyreek Hill. I don't
if
know
if he's that fast.
Yeah, I don't know if Ja's got Tyreek speed, but he's got some of the best body control in the NBA. I think, you know what? I'm going to go with you. I'm going to flip over you. I'm going to go cornerback. I'm going to go man cornerback. 6'2", 174. He's a little undersized, a little underweight for a cornerback, but tremendous body control and position control. You're right. I'm going to go cornerback. I'll give you another one. Guy I've been talking about all playoff long because I have loved the way that he played in these playoffs. What about Donovan Mitchell? What about Donovan Mitchell, who goes 6'3", 215? Donovan Mitchell, I think, is another defensive back. He's a little bit more stout at 215 than Ja Morant is. He's a little taller at 6'3", but he's kind of got that same body control and awareness of positioning.
I think he's kind of quick. I think he could work well as a linebacker too, possibly. You don't think he's big enough for that?
Yeah, 215 might be maybe like an outside backer in a 3-4. Like maybe I could throw him as an outs, like a weak side backer in a 3-4 where he's not primary.
The hybrid guy that can jump in at linebacker, but also play safety and all that kind of stuff.
I maybe put him as the outside backer in a 3-4 where I'm not going to ask him to be directly responsible for the run, more the cavalry to show up once the initial hit is made. I think that's where Donovan Mitchell could fit in. I'll give you one more. Luguentz Dort. Dort already plays basketball like a linebacker. And I was looking for this guy. I'm looking for the most physical NBA players in the league today. Joel Embiid is one of them, although he does it not in a great way. Wemby could play field goal post with no training. Bravo. Bravo. Well done, Wesley. Well done. Here's the guys that I put on a physical list. These are the guys that I'm looking at as like maybe fullbacks, maybe linebackers. Joel. I think Joel's too big to play. I really do. I think if you're looking at big guys, they're either going to be wide receivers or they're not going to be anything, and that's only if they're fast. I don't think I have a spot for Giannis. I don't think I have a spot for DeAndre Ayton. I don't think he could do it. I think the only big man, and honestly, he's not even really a big man. He's a power forward. I think the only big man that I would put in the game is Zion as an edge rusher. Are there any 7-footers you think make the NFL today? I don't think there are.
Probably not, but
Jokic certainly is not.
He's older now, but I think Draymond Green has the mentality to play in the NFL.
Mentality, if you would have said Draymond Green like 6 years ago, I think you could have I could have said I'd bulk him up to be an outside linebacker. I think I could get him there. Maybe an edge rusher.
Edge rusher, definitely, because he'd be over there talking stuff to the guy next to him, and there would be some fights and things, and it would
Draymond's
be
6'6". I'd say edge rusher. The problem is, let's see, average height of an NFL linebacker right now. The average height of an NFL linebacker. I'm going to go like
6'2", probably.
You're exactly spot on. 6'2", 240 is the average linebacker. And the problem is that, in fact, I was listening last night. Somebody, I'm not going to lie, I was listening to another host have this conversation. I'm like, that sounds fun. I want to do that. I like that. Because nothing in radio is original anymore. Everything you can think of has been done. Anyway, he was like, well, why wouldn't you want to go get a Joel Embiid at linebacker? I'm like, you don't know ball, dude. You can't have a 6'9" linebacker. Why? In the run game, there's an expression that every football coach who has ever football coached has said. In the run game, low man wins. You heard that. I bet you even heard that when you were playing ball. I heard it when I was playing ball. I bet you if we called up Reggie Shaw over at Burns right now and said, what's the primary lesson that you teach your offensive and defensive linemen about the run game, his response would be low man wins. I can't have a 6'9" linebacker because he will never be the low man. He will get under blocked by offensive linemen on every single snap. If there's a 6'9" linebacker, I'm running at that guy every time. Every time. I'm Googling tallest. Here's the list.
I was doing the same thing. Tallest player. I'm going.
The tallest linebacker that I know of all the tall linebackers here, the tallest linebacker that I've actively heard of is Mike McAdoo. Mike McAdoo, the only one I've heard of that is over 6'4". Brian Urlacher, 6'4". Jack Lambert, 6'4". Mark Hertzlich, 6'4". Paul Kruger, 6'4". Carlos Dansby, 6'4". Von Miller, 6'3". Junior Seau, 6'3". Chuck Howley, 6'3". LT, 6'3". Derek Thomas, 6'3". Nigel Bradham, 6'2". Brandon Spite, you get it? Linebackers ain't tall. There is no room for a 7-footer in the NFL. The only spot I could come up with.
Dan Skipper, according to the internet, is the tallest current NFL player at 6'10".
Yeah.
And he's a lineman.
Yeah. And even I'd be real cautious. He's a left tackle, isn't he? And I guarantee he's a left tackle.
So. Yeah.
Guarantee he's a left tackle. In fact, I know he is. He's don't tell me. Detroit?
I just said Detroit. But
I didn't hear you.
It's all right. I'm used to not being.
Well, I got it.
Yeah.
Detroit. I nailed it. I'm super smart.
Good job.
Thanks.
The part of your brain that actually heard me say it made you think that you were guessing. Okay.
6'10", 330. By the way, 330 at 6'10". That dude's jacked. Point is, there's no room for 7-footers in the NFL. There's a reason there's no 7-footers in the NFL. To be honest with you, I'm shocked there's a 6'10" tackle. I'm shocked. That's why he's the only one. And I promise
I think they're starting to edge up. Bigger, faster, stronger is starting to, reach new heights, I think.
The average NFL lineman height right now is 6'5". 6'5". And I do think it will go up. And I think it will go up not because it makes sense that it goes up. I think it's going to go up for everybody. We're just societally getting taller. Societally. We are evolving into a taller people, which, of course, there's plenty of evolutionary advantages to.
I think of a couple of quarterbacks that wish that would not happen.
For sure.
Yeah.
Kyler.
Little beefy.
Don't you do it.
Here he is running.
So I'm going to go if we're going to go with what Austin Rivers had to say, I think you can eliminate everybody in the NBA who is over 6'9" unless they are like Superman fast, physically freakishly fast, even compared to their peers. Right.
I noticed you didn't.
Like a pro athlete. I'm talking like fast compared to pro athletes fast.
I noticed you didn't mention LeBron. Early on, because he's old, but early on in his career, there's a lot of times you heard LeBron could go play tight end for Cleveland. And you heard that a bunch, especially during strikes and things like that. Yeah.
I think LeBron in his prime could have been a tight end. Not at 39 years old, but LeBron in his prime, like when LeBron was 24, 25, if I recall correctly, right before he went pro, there were football teams trying to get him to come play college football as a tight end.
I believe Ohio State was one of them.
I think Ohio State was one of them. I also recall that, and I don't know who was the coach at the time, but if I recall correctly, when LeBron got to the Cavaliers the first time, when he got to the Cavaliers, the then coach of the Browns, and I don't remember who it was, great one, you may or may not off the top of your head, but the coach of the Browns at the time was like, yo, LeBron, if you want to be a two-sport athlete and come play tight end, I got room for you. And everybody was like, ha ha, funny. And he was like, I'm not joking.
All right.
That man's a 6'10" freaking nature.
So,
I'll take him.
According to the internet, LeBron was a star wide receiver in high school. He only spent 2 seasons playing varsity football before putting all his focus on basketball. Across those 2 seasons, he put up over 100 catches, more than 2,000 yards, and 23 touchdowns.
Yeah. LeBron in his prime is an NFL tight end. Zion now, assuming a healthy Zion, in fact, I could make Zion a tight end or an edge rusher, to be honest with you. He could be either one.
I think there's a good shot. A lot of these guys probably played football in high school, so you could probably go back and figure out what position they played then.
Point is here, I don't know if I could go 30 NBA players that could make the league great one. I think we could get between 7 and 10 that could make a roster today.
I bet there's 30 that could make the UFL.
Sure. No, but if we said that, it's a different conversation.
It is.
I tried so hard. I really did try with the UFL. I really did try. I just can't.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't even try.
I tried. I can't. All right, I'm going to go 7 to 10. If there's any other players you guys think, let's compile the list. Are there any other NBA players that you believe could make it legitimately, could make an NFL roster today? The Pro Bowler of Sports Flashes.
No.
The first string, the all-star of Sports Flashes.
All right, I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to push the button.
Ah, suck.
Number 1 in your hearts. Jalen Brunson scared the entire city of New York when he left last night's NBA playoff game 2 between the Knicks and Pacers with an injured leg that caused him to miss the entire second quarter. But Brunson returned in the second half and scored 24 of his 29 as he led the Knicks to a 130-121 win. The Braves responded to their road sweep at the hands of the Dodgers by sweeping Boston in a 2-game set with a 5-0 win last night. Marcell Ozuna homered twice and drove in 4, and Ozzie Albies added a home run of his own. I'm not saying Ding or Rob. I don't care. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole, Bryson, and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a lot of fun. And it's all Wire to Wire, and I think it's just Cole today. You say pajamas or pajamas?
Pajamas. Well, my mother says pajamas. Courtney says pajamas. And I don't know why, but that bothers the crap out of me.
That's weird because I would have thought she said pajamas.
Nope. They both say pajamas.
I say pajamas, by the way.
I hate it. I don't know why. You know how some people have an aversion to the word moist?
Yeah, that's just.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. Pajamas does.
Why?
I don't know.
So pajamas seems more, low rent South Side. I would know about that. Pajamas seems more high class.
I also, for the record, say PJs more than I say either of those two.
Well, you taking something down as low as you possibly can word wise is not a surprise. You nickname everything. I probably have heard PJs more than pajamas or pajamas. But I really have a hard time saying pajamas without doing a Southern accent. It's everything I can do to not. Because my mom and my kin and them, they all say pajamas.
Jammies.
It's a Kentucky thing, I suppose.
This is the Rob Brown Show. Thanks, announcer guy. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. 60 seconds on this and not a second longer. And I'm timing us.
Why are you pointing? So this is a directive at me.
No, I'm pointing up. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Not everything's about you, Lonzo.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's my story. Hey,
Not everything's about you.
You're just doing this.
Pajamas, or PJs? What do you go with? Pajamas, or PJs? I'm pajamas. Lonzo is pajamas. I find it like, I don't know why. My mother says pajamas. My fiance says pajamas. I say pajamas, but ordinarily I say PJs. I say PJs more than I say anything else. I said that. Lonzo said, you shortening a word. How shocking. I know.
Alarm.
I didn't say that.
Alarm.
I know you didn't, but there's a word that you say different than other people. And
For sure.
yeah. And so it's pajamas.
See, I have always been pajamas, and I don't know why, because that's not how anybody else in my family says it.
You know why? Because it has jam in it. That's why you do it.
Sum 41, back in the rotation as of today. As of today. All right. I'm genuinely curious about that, because I feel like I'm in the minority.
Well, there's no way. I guess how would the stream say how they say it?
Well, like you would say, I say it like JOM jamas.
Okay.
Or JAM
all right.
jamas.
Okay. Same with text line.
Also, pajamas is a weird word. The more I say it, the more I realize how weird of a word pajamas is.
It's very Southern sounding. It just is.
Why do we call them pajamas?
You talking about the word?
The word pajamas has its origin in Hindi, pajama or pajama, which literally translates as garment for the legs and dates back to the 13th century Ottoman Empire. There you go. It's Hindi. How about that? Learn something new today.
The Ottomans.
Rob Brown out here expanding horizons.
Wow.
Hey, you got to be to work in 57 minutes and 16 seconds. And that means that in like 37 minutes and 15 seconds, you're going to take your first break of the day. And you're going to need to know what's going on in the world of sports so that you can go talk about sports with that one, maybe if you're lucky, two coworkers that you actually like. And if you're going to do that, you got to know what's going on in sports. And if you need to know what's going on in sports, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Didn't want to play a tornado siren because
Good call.
That's
Good call.
Frowned upon.
Marcus F says, Rob, the song goes, it's bananas in pajamas. That's the best argument anybody's ever made.
That's probably why you do that. It's about the song.
Never watched it. Know the song. They're coming down the stairs. They're chasing teddy bears. I know the song. Never once watched the bananas in pajamas. But I will say that's a fantastic argument for team pajamas.
You're either high class or you're not.
Bananas in pajamas. Yeah. That's a snooty cartoon. Bananas in pajamas. That's how it goes. Item number 1. Nikola Jokic is your MVP in the NBA for the 3rd time in the last 4 years. If you ask me, it should have been 4 times in the last 4 years. Nikola Jokic takes home the top individual award in the NBA. The last time that a big man did that, you got to go back to 1973-74, 75-76, and 76-77 to a young man by the name of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Jokic is now the 9th player in the NBA to win at least 3 MVPs. That list includes Magic with 3, Larry with 3, Moses with 3, Wilt with 3, LeBron with 4, Bill Russell with 4, Mike with 5, and Kareem with 6 throughout the course of his career. Denver coach Michael Malone said, quote, "It's hard to differentiate greatness from greatness from greatness. And then that's what he's been over multiple years now. I know the last 6 years now, we've had by far the best record in the Western Conference and only second of the NBA behind, I think, Milwaukee in that time. In his nice season, Jokic played 79 games, his most since logging 80 during the 2018-19 season. He joined Chamberlain as the only players in NBA history to finish in the top 5 in total points, rebounds, and assists in multiple seasons, according to ESPN stats and information. Elgin Baylor is the only other player to do so just once. Jokic is also the second player to record 2,000 points, 900 rebounds, and 600 assists in a season, joining Oscar Robertson. Jokic averaged 26.4 points, 12.4 boards, and 9 assists, all in the top 10 in each category. He had 25 triple-doubles, second only to the Sacramento Kings' Domantas Sabonis, who had 26. He averaged 58.3% from the field and 35.9% from behind the arc. Denver finished this season 5th in offensive efficiency, 8th in defensive efficiency, and 4th in net rating. The Nuggets were one of 4 teams to rank in the top 10 in all 3, along with Boston, still alive as a 1 seed, New York, still alive as a 2 seed, and Oklahoma City, still alive as a 1 seed. Denver boasted the best starting 5 in the league statistically, and yet Jokic's value was still undeniable. The Nuggets posted a plus 11.8 net efficiency when Jokic was on the court and a minus 8.6 when he was off of it. That's a big swing, dude. That's a big swing. Jokic led the NBA with a plus 682 plus minus. The Nuggets were, without Jokic on the court, minus 251. When Jokic was on the floor, they outscored opponents by 682 points. When he was off the floor, the Nuggets were outscored by 251 points. That's the MVP argument right there.
Yeah, that makes you valuable for sure.
That is again, I'm bad at math, but nearly 700 plus and a minus 250 means that Jokic was a difference of 1,000 points when he was on versus when he was off the floor. That is, and this is true, a lot of points. That's a lot. That's a lot of points. I did the math on that. That's a lot of points. Nikola Jokic. Yeah, that's how I felt. Nikola Jokic, once again, your NBA MVP. Let's move to item numero dos. First time in a while I did not put playoff scores on the water cooler cheat sheet. It feels kind of wrong. It feels kind of dirty, but here we go. Atlanta, the Bravos, gets swept on the road by the Dodgers. 3-game sweep. It was not even competitive. They were competitive in game 1. They got it handed to them in games 2 and 3. So what they do? They got a day off. They come back to the Battery. They come back to Truist Park, and they end up matched up against the Boston Red Sox the last 2 nights. The Red Sox currently sit 3rd in the AL East behind only Baltimore and New York, 2 teams I fully expect will be in the playoffs. One is a division champ, one is a wild card, obviously. But the Red Sox are hanging in there. They're in the back pocket. And the Braves swept them. Only a 2-game sweep, but a 2-game sweep nonetheless. Second game last night, Marcell Ozuna, not 1 but 2 home runs. Chris Sale pitched 6 innings, gave up 6 hits, struck out 10, and surrendered 0 runs as they get a 5-0 victory last night. Ozuna hit a 3-run shot in the first inning, added a solo drive in the third off of Nick Pivetta, who was roughed up in his first start coming off of the IL. The Big Bear passed Shohei Ohtani for the MLB lead with home runs number 11 and 12. He also tops the big leagues now with 38 RBIs in the game. Orlando Arcia also had a dinger as he and the Big Bear went back-to-back dingers last night. The Bravos get absolutely back on it against Boston the last 2 games. Now, does that mean that I'm taking away from the ever-rising panic meter? Only if they string a couple more together. Only if they string a couple more together, because I will acknowledge that yesterday on the BetQL network, I was asked which teams do I think are punching above their weight class in Major League Baseball. And my answer was the Boston Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are punching above their weight class. I think their record is better than they are. I'll tell you when I'm confident. The next 3 games. The Bravos are off today. They are at the New York Mets on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's not a good Mets team, but you got to go to City. That's a place that the Braves are hot and cold sometimes. Go in there, get hot. Then come back home May 13th, 14th, and 15th, and you got a 3-game set against the Chicago Cubs. If the Braves can take, let's say, both of those series before they set off with a 4-gamer against the Padres next weekend, I will feel much, much better about where they are. Let's go to item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. I got 2 connected stories. Oh gosh, Rob, are you serious? Yes, I am. To the world of golf we go. Let's start with this one. The PGA Tour has a player policy board. The player policy board is made up of a small number of players that are still on the PGA Tour. And these players work in tandem to effectively serve as ambassadors between the players on the tour and the tour itself. They are the ones who help the tour dictate policy. They are the ones who help the tour make protocols that the players are connected to, et cetera, et cetera. On this organization, on this board in the last couple of years was one Rory McIlroy of Northern Ireland. Rory McIlroy resigned from that spot back in November, but said that he would be back. Said that he planned on taking over for Webb Simpson. Webb Simpson wanted to step down from his post about a year ago before his term was going to expire. He did decide to ride out the end of the term, and then Rory was going to jump back in. But McIlroy said yesterday at Quail Hollow Golf Club, quote, "There's been a lot of conversations. It sort of reminded me why I didn't stay on. So yeah, I think it got pretty complicated and pretty messy. I think with the way it happened, it opened up some old wounds and scar tissue from things that have happened before. I think there was a subset of people on the board that were maybe uncomfortable with me coming back for some reason," end quote. Do you want to know what the reason is? I'll tell you what the reason is. The reason is because Rory McIlroy was one of the only golfers that had the rocks to actually stand up to the LIV Tour. There are, I truly believe, a lot of players on the PGA Tour who are in favor of furthering the relationship between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour. Why? Because if they play nice, if they shake hands, if they come together right now, and get a deal done, guess what happens? There's more money. There's more money in the pot. And while I will never fault players for wanting the bag, as I have pointed out before, I abhor the LIV Tour. I cannot stand the LIV Tour. But if the LIV Tour called me tomorrow and said, "Rob Brown, we would like to fly you to Dubai, where you will be our next great LIV Tour play-by-play guy, and we would like to pay you $1 million a year to take that job," I'm selling out on the spot. And I got the stones to admit it. I'm selling out on the spot because while I hate that money and where it's come from and what that regime is about, etc., do you know what I have to put as my number one priority? My fiance, my mom, my nephew, maybe my brother, if he's like not being a jerk for a couple of days, maybe. But the point here is I would have to do that specifically to take care of my family. So I get it. I get why golfers would want that deal to go down. But there's a second story that I find very interesting connected to that one. There is a negotiating committee, a 5-member subcommittee that is going to be for Major League Baseball involved in negotiations with the Saudi Public Investment Fund as part of a governance effort to try to get the two organizations on the same page to get a deal negotiated to find some common ground in the middle. And on that committee, there is one player, Tiger Woods. Eldrick is the only player appointed to the PGA Tour board back in August. He is the 6th player director and the only one whose board term has no limits. Tiger Woods said he will be part of the transaction subcommittee on the board of PGA Tour Enterprises that will handle day-to-day negotiations as PIF seeks to become a minority investor in the PGA Tour. Also on that tour board, Jay Monahan, board chairman Joe Gorder, John W. Henry of Fenway Sports Group, and Joe Ogilvy, a former tour player appointed as director liaison back in March. The subcommittee does report back to the PGA board, but that means that the entire realm of representation for PGA Tour players in regards to the relationship between the PGA Tour and the Saudi Public Investment Fund is Tiger Woods. That's the only guy. Now, in fairness, Tiger Woods has, although not as much recently, has been involved, let's say, in the criticism of the LIV Tour, in the criticism of the organization behind it, in the criticism of what they have done to golf by, existing. But
so do you have a problem with him? You have a problem with him being the only?
I have a problem with him being the only player with a voice.
All right.
I want more players to have a voice, and listen.
But is he relevant? I know, I get it. It's tight. You give me that look. Yeah, but still, what has he done in the game? So this is like bringing in some guy who used to play, because he kind of is that guy, and have him be the voice when you should be having people who currently play on the tour and are playing everywhere.
That's what I just said.
Yeah,
listen, I have no problem with Tiger being on the board. I'm not saying Tiger shouldn't be on the board. What I'm saying is there should be more players on the board.
Does he still have that gravitas? I know you say he does. I amongst the players are probably going, this guy don't even play every other tournament.
The players adore Tiger Woods. They adore him. You can go look at any golf reports, and every tournament that he is at, players flock around Tiger Woods to chat him up. They love the guy. But again, we can put all that aside for a different discussion about golf. I agree. There should be more voices on this board. Younger voices, the next generation of voices should be on this board, because you are correct. Tiger Woods is almost 50 years old. Tiger Woods is not a competitor anymore. I want him on every course. Every time he wants to play, he gets an auto exemption from me. But
maybe he's keeping them off of it. Maybe maybe people don't want to work with him in that way.
I can't imagine so, because Tiger has his Genesis tournament. All the players are directly involved with that. Every time Tiger puts out some sort of town hall thing, players come to that. Tiger is absolutely a player leader on this tour. Without a doubt, he is. This to me feels like the PGA Tour knows what they want. They want a relationship with LIV. They want a relationship with PIF, because they know they can't beat them, because they have unlimited money. And by having Tiger on there, you get as much goodwill as you can from a public that adores him. You have players who are never going to speak out against the guy for either out of respect or admiration or fear, whatever it might be. I think this is an easy way to set up for the PGA Tour to get exactly what they want and effectively ignore the young players, like, not that Rory McIlroy is a young player anymore, but the young players who maybe aren't as interested in this. Look, if all the players want this relationship, then they should get it. And then it's up to me if I want to watch the PGA Tour anymore or not. But this feels like a dirty way to do it to me. We'll talk more about it later in the show. We got to run to a break. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate.
QC. QC.
All right, guys, quick live read. We're coming right back. Do me a favor. Stay right there. least confrontational person you know, but when you park your car long ways across 3 spots and it's an Ultima fist fight on site. Julie Carlson is the head coach of the Greenville Liberty. She'll be joining us coming up in the 8:20 segment as the Liberty will open their season Friday evening at Paladin Stadium. Game number 1 of the season for the USLW League side based right here in Greenville, South Carolina. Tomorrow on the show at 7:40, we'll be joined by Evan Lee, veteran member of the Greenville Triumph. They are back home this Saturday evening in USL League One action. Also tomorrow on the show, Tyson Jeffers is the general manager of the new Spartanburg baseball team. They, of course, have their big block party going on this Saturday over in Spartanburg, where we will finally get the name of the team. I ask right now, I am placing into your hands, Rob Brown Show Armada, what's the team name? If you're in charge, I am taking you, I am dropping you in charge of that program. You are the CBO. You are the chief branding officer of this team. What is the team name for the brand new baseball team based in Spartanburg, South Carolina that starts its play next season? Lonzo, you are the CBO. They are the
Spartan Birds.
Spartan Birds?
Yes.
BIRDS.
Yes.
But they are real.
Yeah, because they're going to play baseball.
Spartan Birds.
Spartan Birds.
What bird are you using as the mascot, though? You going like a vicious, like a hawk, like a raptor? You going like a flamingo, like a comedy? Because it is minor league baseball. You know, they like to like to skirt on the edge of being funny. What's the bird mascot you're going with? Are you going with like a Carolina wren as a nod to the state bird?
I think see, if you want to go funny, you go with a toucan or something like that. But I don't know that they necessarily want to do that. Do we know, are they going to be any affiliation?
They are affiliated with the Texas Rangers.
Okay, so you can't. I was hoping like maybe the Cardinals or something.
Nope,
so
not a bird team.
Yeah.
The state bird of Texas is the northern mockingbird. And that might not be a bad call to go with the mockingbird, because the mockingbird is really kind of a regional bird of the Southeast. The mockingbird is also the state bird of Florida. I know we have the Carolina wren here, but if you go mockingbird, that is a bird that is in both South Carolina and in Texas. That's maybe not a bad call. I
just don't think I recall anyone saying Spartan Birds until
I have not heard it.
Until I just thought of it. But that doesn't mean someone hasn't said that. Everyone's, it's going to be associated with the city and all that. It doesn't necessarily have to be.
It doesn't have to be, but again, with minor league baseball teams, it's usually either like a city connection, the Asheville Tourist. Asheville obviously is a huge tourist destination. The Greenville Drive, if I recall correctly, the origin story was that when you were traveling up and down the Atlantic seaboard, it was very popular to drive through Greenville. So they became the Drive. A lot of minor league teams have a name that is connected to the city that they play in or the region that they play in, including the teams that have come through here in years gone by.
But you don't have to do that. You can just have some absolute fun with it.
Sure.
So my pick is Spartan Birds. Some other people have some ideas.
I really don't hate Spartan Birds. I actually would get on board with Spartan Birds. I actually would get on board with that. I have given y'all my suggestion. I'm going with Spartanburg, of course, known as Sparkle City, vernacularly. I'm going with the Sparkle City Dazzle. I'm going with the Dazzle. Yes, I know some of y'all are going to be like, that's kind of wussy, Rob. I don't care.
That's not the word that comes to mind for me.
But the Sparkle City Dazzle is what I'm going with, and I'm telling you how I'm branding the whole thing.
It doesn't sound tough. That's the thing. It is.
I mean, the last team was the Spartan Burgers.
Oh, there ain't nothing tougher than a burger, depending on where you get one.
Yeah, if you get it done well done, you got it wrong. But I don't think it's a baseball team. Cardinals is not tough, but it's one of the most recognizable of all baseball teams. The Cubs. You didn't go Chicago Grizzlies, Chicago Black Bears. You went with literally the least dangerous version of a bear. The only not dangerous version of a bear is a bear cub. You went Cubs. You don't have
Cubs
to.
Are really cute, though. So,
I agree with you, but that's exactly my point. Baseball maybe more than other sports. I don't think you need a vicious mascot when it comes back. I think in football, you kind of got to have a mascot that's got some edge to it, right? Like even the lamer ones. Arizona Cardinals. It's one of those team names that you're kind of like, all right. All right. And I know they named that franchise back in the 30s or whatever, but there's no edge to that. In football, I think you need an edge. In basketball, it's kind of right there on the line. I think basketball usually a little more abstract. The Detroit Pistons, I think a great name for a team. I'm going Sparkle City Dazzle. And by the way, not Spartanburg Dazzle. The Sparkle City Dazzle is what I'm going with. And I'll tell you how I'm branding it. The uniforms are hot pink, silver pants, or silver jersey, silver pants, hot pink logo. But I am making this thing. I'm going to make this one of the most recognizable minor league logos, names, and brands in America. And there are some very good ones across America. I'm going with the Sparkle City Dazzle, and I am about to make you a logo and a brand that is recognizable in a landscape that is full of recognizable logos and brands.
There are people who are new to the show because we moved to mornings and we haven't even been here a year, who don't understand your fascination with certain colors because you used to wear those a bunch and you haven't lately.
I got big into jerseys in the last year.
You have. It's a sports show. It kind of makes sense. I'm not wearing any because it's off season for me and all my stuff is football. So, I mean, I'm not going to wear football jerseys every day. In what month are we in? May. I'm not going to do it in May.
Texter said, Rob, my guess is the Sparkle City Sparklers. If you're going to go Sparklers, you don't go Sparkle City Sparklers. You go Spartanburg Sparklers. But I'm going to tell you why. I know you're playing in the same realm that I am, and I'm good with it. I can't go Sparkler. Right?
Too many S's. Too many S's.
Nope.
Sparkle City Sparkles. Yeah,
nope.
too many S's.
Sparkles.
I know city doesn't start with an S, but you know what I mean. That sounds.
Sparkles, I'm a little more on board with than Sparkler. A sparkler is what? It's a firework on a stick that lasts 15 seconds and then it's out. Some of y'all. Burn! Got him! The point is,
but you won't get burnt with a sparkler.
I was making a far more inappropriate joke.
Yes, and I try to take it a different direction.
Say that. I don't care anymore. Okay. That's why. Now
I do. People on their way to school. So
I could go with the Spartanburg Sparkle. I could go with Spartanburg Sparkle. And all my brand name and all my logos and all my images stays the same. And now you do get, that's one thing is you get the city name in there now, right? I think that's probably, I am willing to bet that the folks that are working between the city and the team, they're going to want the name Spartanburg in it. Why wouldn't you? I want my team name said as often. I want my city name said with the team as often as possible. And so if that's the case, they may not be good with Sparkle City, in which case they may be good with Spartanburg. But I can work Spartanburg Dazzlers, and I can work the Spartanburg Sparkle in there.
I think you also got to think of how that fits on your uniform. Spartanburg's a pretty big word.
It is, but
the second word has to be a longer word, not as long as Spartanburg, but a little bit longer because it will disappear in the shadow of Spartanburg.
I think and this is where, and you guys, I don't, you know what? I don't care if you don't like it. I love talking uniforms, talking jerseys. Do you see the Liberty drop their new warm-up kit for this year? And it is super dope. It's a cream top, and the farther you go down the jersey, it fades in the yellow jasmine, the state flower of South Carolina. It's a cream plain top, and then as you go down the shirt, the flowers get more bold all the way down to the bottom where it's like a layer of flowers. It's a very good look. I love a good looking uni. I love a good looking hat. I'm a big hat guy. I love a good minor league hat. Spartanburg's interesting because of the length of the name of the city, but I think with a baseball jersey more than any, you can kind of use like the classic cursive baseball font, and you can just run it right across the top of the chest. And then what I'm doing is with the tail on the G at the end, the tail on the G on the end is coming down and it's wrapping around a diamond that's underneath the name, right? Like that's the brand there. I can write Spartanburg across the jersey in small letters, and then the G wraps around to a diamond that's on the plate. And I think that's
as long as they don't go Spartanburg BC or something like that. It's the Spartanburg Baseball Club.
That's a soccer thing. Texas says Spartanburg Weavers, a nod to the industry that grew the city. Logo, big jacked man carrying a beam of weaving loom.
Yeah, that's working real well with that mascot for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I thought you were about to go with the Dairy Daddies.
No.
For whom it is going really well because they cannot. I have tried 4 times to buy Dairy Daddy merch. They're always sold out. Dex already got his, but he had to drive there to get it.
I was going to say maybe the Dairy Daddies couldn't afford to,
nope,
to
they
make
can't,
more.
They cannot.
Okay.
They cannot keep it in stock. They have bumped the prices up on stuff and cannot keep it in stock. It's incredible. People love a great, like, out of left field logo. That's why I kind of want to go out of left field with this one. How about this one? I can maybe get down with this one. Texter said, how about, a lot of people don't like the less colorful history of Spartanburg, but I say lean into it. Be the Spartanburg Outlaws. Or if you're against it, how about the Spartanburg Sheriffs? Yeah, I like Outlaw. I could get behind Outlaws. However,
if you're going to do that, you might as well go Mafia. They are already over there. I mean, you know.
I don't know much, and this is on me. And I need you to know, UNC Chris, who sent that text, that I do appreciate it. I want you to know you have just wasted my afternoon. You know why you just wasted my afternoon, UNC Chris? Because now I am going to spend the afternoon diving into what you called the less savory history of Spartanburg. I don't know what it is. If somebody who is maybe a historian of the Sparkle City would pop me an email to rob.brown@thefanupstate.com and let me know which direction to go to start my research, I would appreciate it. I want to know, what is the less colorful history of Spartanburg that would make you want to go Outlaws?
Welcome to the dark side of Spartanburg with Rob Brown.
I'm here for that podcast, bro. I'm here for that pod. I love that.
And Guido.
Texture said, no brainer, going to be the Spartanburg Cicadas. Man. I kind of don't hate cicadas, to be honest with you. It's weird, but I like it. Those could be great.
When I get home every day now, because of the zombie cicadas, we've talked. I don't know if I told you about the zombie cicadas.
Oh, I know all about the zombie cicadas.
That when they fornicate,
yep.
they give
scream, right?
No, they're spreading zombieism so this is the biggest crop of cicadas in years, but
17, right?
But they're all going to be zombies. Somebody's going to eat them, and that's it. We're done. Cicadas, when I get home, I sit in my car, stand outside my car and just listen. The sound is it's a wall of sound.
Out there in the sticks.
And I'm starting to find them. I found them on the step, found them on the back of my car. They used to would have freaked me out. They still would have, like a bunch fall on me or something. I've never seen them alive. They're always dead when I see them. So I think they're already zombies. A bunch of people on the stream, by the way. Cicadas would be kind of a cool name.
I don't hate cicadas, to be honest with you. Yeah. I don't hate cicadas. Texture said Sparkle City Bruisers, make them sound Can you sound tough when you open it with Sparkle City? So that's kind of the reason I'm leaning into the Dazzle. Or the Spartanburg Sparkle. I'm kind of leaning into it ain't the toughest name, but it stands out, and I like that. Zach said the Hub City Night Beavers. I like that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll come back. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. It's the Dazzle.
Just not paying attention to the time. Hopefully someone else is not paying attention to the time, because it's really like
Oh, Spartanburg Shiners. I like that. I
sent you something on Twitter earlier. It'll only take you a second to look at it.
I'm on my way. Please set me free. Home, sweet home. That's really good. I might have to share that later. Give me 30 seconds, guys. All right, we're back. Thanks for hanging out, dudes.
I like that last one. That has a ring to it, Sean. I like that one.
Hub City Hitmen. I could get on board with that,
Yeah.
but I demand the colors be black and pink.
What is with you and the
The
pink?
Hitman, Bret
Oh,
Hart.
you're thinking, yeah, okay. I don't
For the record, Bret Hart is why I think wearing pink is cool.
okay.
That's the man. The excellence of execution.
He was the man 30 years ago.
Which, by the way, it didn't click to me till I was like 35 that he was called the excellence of execution because he was the Hitman. Like, I'm dumb.
Yeah, I've never thought of that till just now. So thank you. Seriously, I didn't know. I'm not known to get things early though, so
Got a couple more good suggestions for the name of the new club. Texas said the Sparkle City Hush Puppies, sponsored by the Beacon Drive-In. I have not been to the Beacon in the Berg yet.
call it.
What?
They do that, the Beacon.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Haven't been there. I will be, as a matter of fact, I will be over there Saturday. I might have to cheat meal the Beacon.
Here's the thing though, you might have a problem with it.
Why's that?
Because even though you're expecting it,
Yeah.
the sudden yelling is going to jump scare you.
Okay.
It's
It's just like a chill restaurant and then some dude
I
yells?
can't. It's something you have to experience yourself.
Okay.
And there could be a chance. Back in the day, this happened some. You might be standing there, and the guy might be next to you and yell it.
Okay.
So
Might have to hit it up. Might have to be a Saturday thing, as a matter of fact. Texture said, how about the Hub City Hogs? See, it makes sense and it works. I have two issues with it. Number one, there's a ton of hub cities. There were two hub cities where I lived in Florida. Two different cities claimed the title Hub City. And so I think you might get lost in the sauce a little bit on that one. But is there a connection to hogs? Like, was Spartanburg big into pig farming for a few years there?
I don't know.
I don't know. And this would probably be easier if I grew up here and I knew a little bit more. Texture said, how about the Hub City Engines or the Hub City Engineers? Don't hate it. Spartanburg, obviously, and really Greenville, both getting bigger and bigger in the automotive industry. So if you want to make a tie there, I'm very good with that. Same with the engineering career field. What would you call it? Industry. There you go. I knew it. I can do it. How about, let's see. Texture said, start with a Google search of Murderburg. Another texter said Spartanburg for years was one of the top 5 most violent cities in America per capita.
Daggum per capita.
I'm struggling today.
I apologize. For some reason, my turrets have jumped over to you.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Shane says the
It
Hub City.
ain't like you spend a lot of time around someone who has a southern accent. It ain't like that.
Only when she's mad. Shane said, how about the Hub City slaughter possums for the possum I nailed on the way home from the gym? I have yet to hit a possum here. I have hit a deer. Wrecked my Jeep back when I had the Jeep. Smoked a deer on the way home one day. Not hit a possum yet. However,
I probably have hit a possum. I've been here for 26 and a half years. Good shot. I've nailed one eventually. I mean,
Not hit a possum, have hit a deer. Somehow even more impressive. Hit a deer once. I'm going to go with, if you wanted to go with slaughter possums, you're going to be up there with the Trash Pandas, which is a real minor league baseball team's name. I want to say, let's see, I forgot where they're from. They're from somewhere in Alabama. They are the Rocket City Trash Pandas in North Alabama. I will tell you, every team's got their theme night where they change their team name for a night. My old team, the Pensacola Blue Wahoos, down in Pensacola, Florida. Lonzo, one game a year, they become the Pensacola Mullets. And their theme is the mullet, the fish. Except for the logo, they actually put a mullet on the fish. And they go all neon pink, neon green, neon yellow. It's great. I love it good. And I think you could probably go with slaughter possums as like a theme. How about, says Chris, the Spartanburg Road Killers? I can get on board with Road Killers. I don't hate that at all. Nice little play on words there, but still lets you sound kind of tough there at the end. Texas says, anything has to be better than the Shuckers of Biloxi, Mississippi. The locals called them the Biloxi ers. I will tell you.
I don't think you needed to add the ers on the end there, but
I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, all right.
It's important to me that we communicate thoroughly with the Armada. I will tell you that the Shuckers were a rival of my home club, the Blue Wahoos. We played them constantly.
So this has to do with corn?
Oysters.
Oysters, okay.
Yeah, you shuck oysters. And
do
so
you really?
Yep, you shuck an oyster.
Why?
That's how you open
an oyster. I get
opening an oyster is called shucking an oyster.
I get shucking corn, but I do. Yeah, okay. All right.
Shuck an oyster, and their logo is what do you call it? Anthropomorphic oyster shell, and the eyes stick out from the shell. I actually kind of love it.
Yeah, everybody out there knows what anthropomorphic is.
It's when you take something that's inanimate and you give it the qualities of a human. So like you take a trash can and you put eyeballs on it and it becomes a Muppet. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I actually
Why didn't you just say that? Why did you say Muppetize?
Like sounding like a smart boy.
Because you are, but some of us are not.
I like the Shuckers. And obviously Biloxi has an oyster farming history to it, so that it fits and it makes sense and it's unusual and it stands out. The Montgomery Biscuits is another one. They played just to being a generic deep South style team name there. I like that. I'm good with that. The Blue Wahoos, obviously on the coast, Pensacola, big into Gulf of Mexico fishing. Blue Wahoo, a fish that people frequently go out and prize. Hard to find, hard to catch. They eat good when you do. So they went with the Blue Wahoos. I'm good with all of those. So keep them coming. Keep your suggestions coming as we come to the end of hour number 2. You're in charge of the Spartanburg baseball team. What's the name? Texture says Spartanburg Stallions. I think Stallions is a good generic team name.
Bruh.
I do think the players would have a blast with it. But I think Stallions is it's a very good generic. You know when I say generic team now, like the Bears, the Lions, the Eagles, the Tigers, like generic team name. Stallions stands out within the generic team.
All those things are calling generic were probably really cool back in the day when they named them.
Probably before there were any teams called the Tigers. Being the first team named the Tigers would be very cool. Being the first team named the Eagles would be very cool. Now there's a billion of those. Texter said, Spartanburg Sex Panthers. You have my attention. If any team had the rocks to call themselves the Sex Panthers, I am immediately buying all of your merch. Everything you make with that logo on it, I'm buying it. I suspect they're not going to go that direction with Spartanburg. Probably not. You're going to get away with a team called the Sex Panthers. You're doing it in like Portland or Austin.
Or Vegas.
Or Vegas. I don't even think Vegas would go that far.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It's too much of a, I mean, maybe. I'm going to go one of those weird cities would go with Sex Panthers as a team name. And again, for the record, I will buy your merch. Just like I am still waiting for my opportunity to catch the Dairy Daddies team store when it is stocked, because I want the shirt, I want the hat. It's a great name.
Did you try in the off season?
We are in the off season. They haven't actually started playing yet.
Oh,
that's how.
Okay.
That is how. Let me see if there's
Yeah, but they're gearing up, right?
They are the Danville Dairy Daddies of the Appalachian Baseball League. Let's see if the caps are back in stock. They are, but it's not the Dairy Daddies caps. It's the other team, the Danville Otterbots.
Yes.
The Otterbots. Otterbots roll out. Which, again, I also kind of love.
If an Otterbot transforms, what they just become an otter, I guess?
They're mammals in disguise.
Okay.
I don't know. They do have hats in, but the hats they have in right now are, and they're great. They have the dark blue sides, the white front, and the pink bill, but it's the one with just the cow head logo. They don't have the like super ripped, hilarious cow. They do have, Lonzo, for the Otterbots, they do have an otter face, but it's robotic. It's like a Transformer otter face, and that's kind of dope, and I kind of want that. Anyway, the point here is there's some really good options out there. I really, really, really hope they pick a good team name, and I trust them. When we had Tyson Jeffers on the show last time a few months ago, he was pretty confident that we were all going to dig the name. So I'm leaning in on this, but I'm really hoping I've said Sparkle City Dazzle enough on the radio that one of them heard it, introduced it, and maybe we go that direction.
Speaking of leaning into something, I know the other show are not the great sleuths that we are, and that's fine.
We tried so hard.
They look good, and we're just smart. So. Do we not try a day before? Do we not try to get them to narrow it down a little?
I mean, we can certainly ask one more time again.
Yeah.
But the last time was in the years that I've done radio. It was the most no I have ever heard from an interviewee.
Yeah, but he did it with a smile. It wasn't like it. Yeah, it was with a smile. I mean,
but it was a friendly but very stern. Abso-damn-lutely not. Are you getting anything out of me? He would not dare. Lonzo asked specifically, is it an animal? Like, can you name it down to one kingdom of life? And the guy was like, no, not giving you nothing. We were prodding, could get nothing out of him.
All right. So, when you talk to someone for a second time, there's a level of comfort there on both sides. So
I don't think you're getting anything out of him. You're welcome to try. You have the platform.
Unless it's going to keep him from coming on the show, I'm giving it a shot.
Absolutely.
Because,
Absolutely. Have that. I'm just telling you, I have never gotten
I'm going to study up.
No.
I'm going to study up on my Batman tactics tonight. Do a little extra studying. We're going to be ready to go.
Lonzo's going to come in here tomorrow like freaking Sigmund Freud.
I might even wear my glasses. Look out.
It's actually said, how about the Hub City potholes? Oh, that's rough.
It's very negative. Come on.
Sometimes you can make a joke out of that. It's actually said, since we are the Hub City, what if they go with the Spartanburg Express? Great if you give me a really badass train logo. I'm good with the Express, but don't give me like an old Chattanooga choo-choo logo, right? Give me a badass train logo, and I'm in on that.
No Thomas the Tank.
Yeah, no Thomas the Tank Engine BS. Give me a badass tank logo, and I will fully subscribe to that. Fully subscribe to that. I'm all in for it. All right. Keep your suggestions coming. When we come back here in just a minute, we'll get to some of the other sports stories on the day. We'll talk a little ATL Bravos as they get a 2-game sweep over the Boston Red Sox at the house over the last couple of days. We'll check in on that. Marcell Ozuna now leads Major League Baseball in dingers at this point. We'll talk a little basketball. Jalen Brunson scared the hell out of the entire city of New York last night, leaving the game with a busted leg. Then he came back. And we'll break that game down as well as set you up for tonight's games and more. I know that you are excited about the last 2 hours of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate, which you should be even way more excited about, is this Sports Flash.
Wow, that's another one. There's a flash of lightning. It got me. Indianapolis police announced an open investigation into the actions of Bucks guard Patrick Beverly after he threw a ball at a fan in the Bucks loss. He nailed her in the face with the ball. And charges could be filed at the conclusion of the investigation. Cameras showed Beverly hitting a fan in the head with a ball, getting it back, and then throwing it again at another. The Braves responded to their road sweep at the hands of the Dodgers by sweeping Boston in a 2-game set with a 5-0 win last night. Marcell Ozuna homered twice and drove in 4, and Ozzie Albies added a home run of his own. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun, and it's all Wire to Wire. The road cones. So it's starting to get mean out there again. Lightning flashes, thunder.
Big thunder.
I feel more safe here than I do at home, and I probably shouldn't. I mean, lightning can come through those windows. I mean, and the tower falling down on us would probably be more devastating than a tree falling down on me. But
dramatically, I would think.
Am I the only one who thinks about that stuff? When you work somewhere, do you think, well, if that fell down, that's taking the whole building out? It's a really big tower. It would take a lot to take the thing down.
It absolutely would.
I wonder, with as big as it is, it's hard to fathom it laying on its side.
Yeah.
Would it actually hit that building too? Or would hitting this building cause it to bend enough that I don't know. I'd, put it in some sort of AI thing, but people would think that I was plotting to do that, and I'm not. It would take a killer storm like a tornado or bombs probably to do that. Still have a color, by the way. Probably should have asked for the name. Did not. We'll see what he says.
It says Wes on the.
No. I mean the name that he's going to cover
gotcha.
about baseball.
Just get ready.
Yeah. That's a,
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Radio program starts now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Rob and the great one, Lonzo, with you. Not going to spend segments on this, but I do want you. We will continue to drop them throughout the remainder of the program. What name do you want to give the new baseball team in Spartanburg, South Carolina?
this is your last chance over the next couple of days to guess before they actually give the name on Saturday. So you can say, see, I knew it. I got it right.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now. They go with Sparkle City Dazzle. I'm losing my mind, and I'm claiming full credit for it. Full credit for it.
Well, you should.
Text says Spartanburg Shiners after the moonshine / NASCAR roots. That's from Sheezy. Sheezy, appreciate the text. And
Sheezy likes Shiners?
I am going with, I actually really like Spartanburg Shiners. You could sell me on Spartanburg Shiners. I'd wonder what the logo is going to be. I think the logo, you go with like a classic badass stock car, right? But I can absolutely get on board with Shiners. Absolutely get on board with Shiners. All right. Let's get Wes in here real quick before we start talking about some of the other things going on. NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs, Major League Baseball, the Braves getting a sweep over the Red Sox, all that and more coming up next. But Wes, kind enough to hang on through the break. He gets first crack at it. Welcome back to the show, Wes.
Hey, guys. I got what I think would be a very perfect name because it represents our area. How about the Spartanburg Stingers? Because we have so many yellow jackets around here.
Stinger's not
and
bad.
have a yellow jacket as your mascot.
Stinger's not bad. I can get on board with that. I think I would want you to end up with like a really, really cool logo out of that. Like don't just give me generic like Georgia Tech yellow jacket. Give me like a really cool updated logo. But I could get on board with that, Wes. That's not bad. Good pick.
All right.
Appreciate
you, guys.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Texas said, how about the Hub City Rockers? What direction you going with Rockers there?
Sounds like a...
Is your logo a wrestler kicking another wrestler through a window?
It sounds like a local wrestler, wrestling tag team.
Yeah. Or are you going with like Rockers and then instead of like the sweeping letter tail, it's like an electric guitar under it? Because I could get on board with that.
Or maybe it's just a rocking chair.
But it...
I mean, yeah.
But is Spartanburg known for its music scene, right? Like to me, I do want it to tie to the area. I do want it to tie to to either Spartanburg or to the upstate as a whole.
April on the stream says Spartanburg Spike Slammers.
Nod to railroad and baseball, maybe a logo with the S's interlocked, thinking back, and silver with neon pink or neon green and yellow trim. I'm good with that. I'm also going to go, if you're going to go with that direction, I think it opens up pretty much the entire color palette.
I'm just going to guess here and say that there will be no pink in the Spartanburg uniform.
Why?
Just because there's an obsession here with some people about pink, and I don't know that necessarily is that way in Spartanburg.
Yeah, we'll see. Again,
I'm guessing when I think Spartanburg, I think red for some reason. So
I agree with you, and especially if you're going to tie anything to the locomotive industry. If you're going to tie it to locomotive, I think red becomes mandatory. But again, remember, this is also marketing as much as in anything else. I want something that stands out. You know how many baseball teams have red as a primary logo? All of them. Every baseball team has red as a primary logo.
At the same time, speaking of primary, your primary audience, people who are coming, are going to be people from that area. So you want to appeal to them, hence all the names that we're getting. But you also want to get a color that Spartanburg likes, I suppose.
I mean, I think they're going to like it no matter what it is.
As long as it's not orange, we're good.
I will say this. I do not think, could be wrong. I do not think that they will go with orange, purple, garnet, or black. Black, maybe, because black's kind of a universal. I don't think they will go with any color that shows preference to it. Honestly, I don't think they'll do purple, and I don't think they'll do gold either, because I don't think they're going to want to get into it with the Wofford's Furman rivalry. Like, I think they will do something that is outside of generic colors, that is not connected to any of the local teams, both so that they're not crossing over the marketing, A, and B, because they don't want to seem like they've picked a side. And as much as they have no reason to pick a side, we know if they make that team color orange, there's going to be a lot of people who are not buying merch. You will sell more merch with pink than you would orange, not because people don't like the orange, but because you are probably cutting your fan base in half with people who are going, I'm never wearing an orange jersey. Texas said Spartanburg is where the Marshall Tucker Band is from, the pride of Dorman High School. No idea how to make that a baseball name. You got to give me a few minutes, but I think Rockers is not bad. I think we could come up with if you wanted to do some musical theme, I think you could come up with a couple of good musical nicknames that haven't been used before. The Spartanburg lyricist.
Didn't they do Take the Highway? Spartanburg Highway, maybe? I don't know.
Marshall Tucker Band?
Yeah.
I just know they have the second greatest flute song of all time.
Dude, I saw that dude play live.
They're good, man.
I don't know, it was like 10 years ago, or probably longer than that. Mike Gallagher from our brother station, WORD, was putting on a benefit in Spartanburg Memorial Tournament, and they played auditorium, and they played, and it was longer than that, because I took my son when he was younger. It's the first concert he ever went to, just me and him, and it was them. And dude walked, that's not the only thing he could play. That guy could play anything.
Believe it.
He was amazing.
Zach says odds on pink being the color. Oh, it's going to be like plus 225. It's an underdog for sure.
By the way, Marshall Tucker Band it is Take the Highway.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're going to do the rock, if you're going to try to put them in there.
But do you go rock, or do you go with more like a country theme for Spartanburg? Because Marshall Tucker Band's not really rock, but they're not really country. They're kind of like right in the middle.
Well, they're like, I don't know,
Americana,
38 Special, that
I'd say
Leonard Skinner,
that's
somewhere.
All
yeah,
so we say Southern rock.
I think they're Southern rock. Yeah,
but they do have a flute.
So,
Texas said Spartanburg Sasquatch. I'm all in. In.
That's it for me.
I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm there for that for sure.
Sparkle City Squatches. I'm all in.
Yeah, I like that one too.
There's a brewery in Spartanburg called RJ Rockers. Could pay homage to that with a peach logo for their Son of a Peach beer. Son of a Peach beer. Well, golly. Y'all are just giving me a tour de force of the Berg this Saturday.
Did you just say golly?
Golly.
Wow, Gomer.
All right. Keep the suggestions coming. Although I am going to say, I think mine is the best personally. I could go all in on the Spartanburg Sasquatch. Is Sasquatch plural? Is it Sasquatches?
I think
Are there multiple Sasquatches?
Well, now you got to look it up. I mean, but if you look up what multiple Sasquatches are, then you're implying that they're real.
I don't know. And for the record, I Googled it. No one has ever actually asked that question, or at least not on the internet.
Are they, because you only see one at a time. You haven't seen like a herd of Sasquatch before.
Right? All right. All right. God dang it.
Yeah, but Sasquatch are more like people, so you wouldn't say a herd of people. I don't know. A group of Sasquatch. There we go.
Is it a group? What? Because it's the thing. Unless you're going to go with, and there are teams that go with the single logo, right, or the single name. It's not a plural name. It's not multiple of that thing. The Stanford Cardinal. It's just the one cardinal. Granted, they're talking about the color, not the bird. But just the one thing. There are some teams that go in that direction. Do you go with the Spartanburg Sasquatch? You just call it the one because they are solo creatures?
All right. According to cryptozoology, which would imply that they're real
things.
They
obviously know what they're talking about.
The plural of Sasquatch is Sasquatches.
Okay. So do you go with the Spartanburg Sasquatches? I like that less than just Sasquatch. I think you just go with it as one. The Spartanburg Sasquatch. But here's my other question.
Yeah, if you're going to go multiple, you go Squatches.
Here's my
Spartanburg
question.
Squatches is still.
Is Spartanburg big in the Sasquatch scene? Because every time we talk about the Squatch around here, I get told that's a north of us thing. That's like a southern North Carolina into the Blue Ridge.
2 states, 1 team, man. Come on.
I agree, but this isn't a state team. This is a city team. Now, if you were going to start a new pro team that represented the Carolinas as a whole, like if they wanted to rebrand the Carolina Hurricanes to the Carolina Sasquatch, they would fully get my endorsement there. Fully get my endorsement. Texter said, I heard of Sasquatches are referred to by the local community as Zoes. Well, that's just rude.
That's fine. That's fine. How do you think I know they're real?
Spartanburg Marshals, a tip of the cap to the Rangers and the Marshall Tucker Band. I don't hate the Marshals. I don't hate it. It doesn't really have the edge, but again, in baseball, I don't think you need to have an edgy mascot or an edgy name. I think baseball, more than other sports, you can kind of get away with having a name that's a little less on the harsh side. I like the Marshals. And with Marshals, you could play to a law enforcement theme if you wanted to go that direction. You could play to an Old West theme if you wanted to go that direction. I don't know why you would. Again, you would kind of want to represent the region you're in. But I don't hate Spartanburg Marshals. That's not bad. All right. I said we were not going to do another segment on this, and here we are. I'm real not good at keeping you guys in check. I got to get better at this.
All right, really quickly. Shane on the stream says, you mean tinfoil cap Rob doesn't have a theory on Sasquatch? Of course he does.
Yeah, they're not real.
But they
don't
are.
Exist.
They're interdimensional beings who they vacation here on occasion.
Right, who aren't real. And we all know that. But this is the name of a team. I am happy to buy into
folklore,
right,
as you would call it.
100%.
If they just discovered a new species of fish off the coast of Florida just last week. It's a glowing, not quite a jellyfish, but I think they call it a glowing monster. I talked about it Saturday. You should check it out. So if you're still discovering, I know the oceans are deep and unexplored. If you can find new fish, you can find a Sasquatch. Just say.
Okay, I'm here for it. I am fine with going into folklore. I just don't know that Sasquatch is a big part of the fabric of the
Notre Dame's mascot's a leprechaun. I mean, come on.
They're not the leprechauns, though.
They're not.
They're the Irish,
but still
represented by a leprechaun. But again, I am fine with the folklore name. I am fine with the name that pays homage to the legends and the stories and the tall tales of an area, like a Sasquatch.
Ooh, how about the Spartanburg Shriek? And they could have like banshees would be their thing.
Don't hate it. What's my connection there? Like, is there a legend of? In fact, if you want to go paranormal,
everyone knows about the banshees of North Spartanburg.
If there is a connection, for instance, Savannah is, if ghosts were real, the most haunted city in America is Savannah, with New Orleans. I think it's either New Orleans 1, Savannah 2, or Savannah 1, New Orleans 2, somewhere in there. But if Savannah, who, by the way, what's their hockey team's name? The Ghost Pirates. I'm all in. And they went with black and neon green as their colors. I'm all in on Ghost Pirates. It's an homage to the supernatural history of Savannah, but also the pirate history, of which, shockingly, there is one in Savannah. That's a great name. I like that a lot. The Norfolk Admirals. It's more of a classic name, but obviously Norfolk, Virginia is big into nautical history and on both the military and commercial side. That's a great name. So what's my connection there? Texter said the Spartanburg Space Cats. All right, you look. What? Huh? Chris said the Hub City Extraterrestrials. It's a little long. If you wanted to go with the aliens, I'd be good with that. Dude, if they ever started another team in Atlanta, they should be called the AT Aliens. Just like homage to both Outcast and, I think
all right. I just looked it up because I was curious about what Spartanburg is famous for, and it really comes down to textile.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so it more than likely the real name will have something like that incorporated into it.
I know that the textile thing, and again, if they are going to lean into the history, then yeah, that's probably the way that you would go. I do know, obviously, there was a connection to the locomotive industry.
All right.
I think you could go there.
According to the story, nestled in the foothills of Blue Ridge Mountain, Spartanburg has been known as the hub city since it became a major railroad intersection in the 19th century. So, I mean, the hub city textiles or something like that. That way they tie in a couple things that's famous for. Who knows?
We had one earlier back in the last hour. We did have one that we had somebody that texted in that had what I thought was, if you're going to go in that direction, the Weavers. That was it. Spartanburg Weavers. And I think that's pretty good. It's like a unique name. It's an individual name. I'll tell you what else it does. Weaver.
What do the kids of the day know of Weavers?
Weaver Spiders lets you have a very dope spider logo, right? Because you've got the rider spiders, which are also called weaving spiders. Right? They're the ones that I think they call banana spiders too, but they make the big elaborate webs that tear down every night, build a new one, and people say you can see if you see your name written in a spider's web, you're haunted. Like, it's a nice little fun legend, whatever. I think you could go Weavers as a nod to the textile industry, but also come up with a really kick-ass spider logo for your hat, which I'm all in for.
My name may or may not be printed in those, but I only find them when I ride through them on my lawnmower. Unfortunately.
Bingo. They're everywhere. I think Weavers is an excellent name. Hub City Express. Yeah, that's the second time we've gotten Express. For the record, I am all in on Express if and only if you actually give me a very cool train logo. Don't give me like a 1922 Chattanooga choo-choo caboose. Okay? Don't give me just generic old steam engine style train. Give me a really cool looking train logo, and I would buy in on Express. Texter said, if it's a textile name, it'll be the Spartanburg Spinners. What? Spinners was an old name of a baseball team around here, if I recall correctly, though. In fact, if I don't the Drive play as the Spinners a couple of times a year? I think they do. I think they still break that name out. So I don't think you can go with that. Yeah, the Greenville Black Spinners was a Negro league back in the 20s, and they still do. So you can't do the Spinners. The Drive already got that one. But I like the idea. If it becomes the Hub City Spartans, I'm leaving. Spartans, they can't do Spartans, right? They can't do that. That's too on the nose. All right, when we come back, literally not this conversation, something else. It's Julie Carlson, head coach of the Greenville Liberty, next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
All right. Can you watch the phone? I really got to go to the restroom. Yeah. Just
absolutely.
In case there's a chance I'll be back.
Yeah, you're good.
I would leave, but
No, you're fine. All right, guys, I'm going to take a second because I got to walk around the desk. Y'all stay right there. BRB.
cart number, and that's the regular cart number. Yeah. And I heard it going off when I went to the restroom because you can hear.
We wouldn't hear it in here, right?
No,
okay.
But you hear all of them going off in the TOC when you. Sometimes when I'm here and you're not here, if I hear something like that go off in the TOC, I get up and go look outside. Yeah. Since we don't have windows, it's like, oh,
it's gnarly out there.
Spartanburg stepchildren.
Actually said the Hub City Hippos and go with a pink hippo mascot. As a nod to Greenville. So I got told at one point that years ago it was assumed that Spartanburg was going to be the big rapidly growing city in the area, and then Spartanburg, basically the old money in Spartanburg, decided that they didn't want that, so they basically set it up so that Spartanburg could not grow, and then all the business moved to Greenville, and that's why Greenville is.
I'm telling you, man, drive around old Spartanburg and look at the houses.
Yeah,
I mean,
I totally believe that.
If you
theory.
go back in some of those neighborhoods and look at those houses,
Yeah.
like, oh,
I totally believe that theory.
That's why I'm not joking about the Spartanburg Mafia.
Yeah.
I do believe it exists.
I wouldn't doubt it. It would not shock me.
And even if I did just make it up, it doesn't matter. It looks, yeah.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It is the Fan Upstate. I would say happy Thursday, and I do hope it is a happy Thursday morning, but it is a very dreary Thursday outside.
Be careful. Give yourself some extra time, and you'll get there when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Lot of standing water.
Thank you.
And storms and all that stuff.
And they're not done yet. We got more coming. So be careful out there. Hey, let's go to the phone lines. Let's welcome in someone that I say is a friend on and off the air. She is also the manager of the USLW League side, the Greenville Liberty, who begin their season tomorrow night at Paladin Stadium. She is head coach Julie Carlson joining us on the show. Coach, welcome back. How we doing?
Hey, Rob. I'm doing well, trying to stay dry at the moment, but thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge. I know you guys yesterday trying to do an open practice and got rained out a little bit. Before we get into tomorrow's match, let me ask you, just out of somebody with a curiosity about how your world works, how does this impact you and your team when you have a situation pop up like this where you are, 48 hours away from game time, trying to get those last little adjustments in, and you can't get out on the pitch to practice? How do you handle that?
Well, I mean, communication's key, right? You end up doing the classroom. It becomes the boardroom, becomes the training pitch. And so, we've been able to do some workouts as a group with our partner Bar 3 and some of our other partners like Night Performance Factory, and at least get the group together to get to know each other and interact. But obviously not having a soccer ball in the mix is difficult. So you have to pray a little bit. You have to sing to the soccer gods and just, hope some of it passes. But I think it really is going to tell a lot about the group that you've built, what kind of resilience they have and what they can do when you put an 18 on the field tomorrow. But you got to get creative. You got to adjust and adapt. And, one thing about our soccer world is you can't control the weather. So, but, we still have a few players trickling in, but the bulk's been here. So we've been fortunate enough to get a few sessions in. It's just been tough leading up to the game with the lightning and the heavy rains.
We're talking with Julie Carlson, head coach of the Greenville Liberty. Game number 1 at home tomorrow night at Paladin Stadium, 7 p.m. You talk about having to be creative, and you talked about how this will say a lot about the team you built. And I don't think that there is a coach in the area that has to be more thoughtful in roster construction and chemistry and all that than you, coach, because you have got you've got players coming in and out. You've got players playing from all different colleges around the area that play all different styles of football. And you've got to kind of orchestrate that into a team that will take the pitch tomorrow. And listen, you've got some ladies that have been on the team for a couple of years. Kat Cunningham is still out there. Dubem DK still on this team. And then you've got a bunch of ladies who are going to be wearing the crest for the first time. Talk to me a little bit about how you go about putting a roster together to make sure you've got a group of gals that can work well together and win some football matches.
Sure. I think we have to put a lot of accountability and onus on those returning veteran players to control the narrative tomorrow night, because we know Asheville City. Obviously, we're in a new division, but we know Asheville City. We know what they bring to the table, and so we have to rely on those players a lot more to really bring some of these newer players into the fold to tell them what the expectations are and what to expect with the level that they're going to face on Friday. And so, I mean, the other side of that is that we do have some new faces, but they are, juniors in college. So the positive side of that is that they've been playing at a higher level and they are older, just new to the club. And so, so they should be able to, adapt pretty quickly. Now, the younger ones that have been in the academy program have either are getting ready to go to college or have had a year of college. They're going to be relying a lot on just high energy, and you're going to kind of test those that make the 18 to adapt pretty fast and see how they adjust. You have to be patient as a coach. You definitely have to have a game plan going into it, even though you may have to alter it as the game's in flow. But you do have to have a plan, and you have to know who the players are and how the matchups you think may work. I guess in your mind as a coach, what you think it should look like, and then you just kind of go with it, and you have to trust the players. So there's going to be a lot on players like Dubem DK, Julie Mackin, Sarah Jacobs, Kat Cunningham, who've really grown, Alexa Fight, they've been with the program 2 to 3 years now. They know what the expectation is. They know what I'm like, but they've also built confidence. They've also been playing college and had really good, successful college seasons coming out. And so I think that's going to carry a lot of weight for us.
Julie Carlson, manager of the Greenville Liberty, the USLW League side that opens play tomorrow night at Furman Paladin, 7 p.m. kickoff time. You can get your tickets by going to greenvilleliberty.com and snagging those today. These games are a blast, man. And I'll tell you, Coach, from somebody who obviously is at every home match with the privilege and the honor of calling those games, this is, if you are someone who appreciates sport because the athletes care, because the athletes are playing because they love to play, whether it is out of ambition for the future or it is just a pure love of the game. I think that is what stands out so much about the W League and so much about this team. The girls that put the crest on any given night are doing it because they love football and they love the team that they represent. Does that kind of shine through when you are helping to develop these ladies?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're very proud of being part of something like the Liberty. Obviously we kickstarted our first season, with a massive successful year, and so many of those groundbreaking players are either still with us, or they're playing professionally, or obviously they've moved on into really big careers. I think that set a major pathway. And then, going into last year, we had a different mix of kids, and I took a step back and looked at it. And we had a lot of talent that's coming back. We had some players that, are injured that can't be back. We've had players that, have decided to look at other avenues, and that's just kind of part of being in a summer program. And so, I really took upon making sure I met with all of the players coming in, what kind of commitment I wanted to have from them, And what I have seen so far, you talk about the energy and the passion and how fun this group is. And this group, we still have some old ladies in the group. Don't get me wrong. This group's young, but they are so pumped. Like, you can just feel the energy, and you want that to parlay onto the fields. We're still going to have to figure out the soccer, and that may not look all, beautiful all the time with a beautiful game because we're just getting started and cranked up, but the energy is there. They've really, I guess, the continuity already with the players that I've seen, just getting along and going and doing things together away from soccer within the area, has been great to see this early on. So I'm super excited about that. And, a lot of our younger ones, like, look at a player like Alexa Fight, who transferred to Catawba, and they were basically a top 4 national contender at the Division II level. She played every minute. She started us in our inaugural year, didn't play very much, and now she's right in that mix, competing in that starting 11, and she's got tons of energy, and now she's in that leadership, like bringing new players into the fold on what all this is about, and that's part of the development. The other side of that is players that have taken a lot away from this program, gone back to their colleges and continued to blossom in their college program. And we've seen it in their playing time increasing. We've seen it in their results as individual players, and bringing that back into the fold. And you can feel the confidence, you can feel the belief, and you can feel that passionate energy. And I'm doing everything to make sure that we maintain that, and the soccer will grow in that as the season goes on.
Talk to me real quick, Coach. Got a couple of minutes left with Coach Julie Carlson, head coach of the Greenville Liberty. Their season starts tomorrow evening at Paladin Stadium. Talk to me about how you as a manager try to find the balance between developing players and helping players grow into who they will become as a professional down the line, or as a great college player down the line, and then find the equilibrium of, we want to win games. We want to win a USL W League championship. We want to be out there and get as many dubs as we can. How do you as a manager find that balance between the responsibility of developing players and the responsibility of getting 3 points as often as possible?
Well, my brain works very patiently, and I think it's important that you're sending messages sometimes, even though it might be to the group, you're trying to target individual players when it comes to what they need to invest in and what the expectations are if they have these long-term goals. And then you also have to have the importance of having the small side conversations with players and picking and choosing the right moments to give them encouraging words, give them feedback, give them, little things as seeds that you can plant that they can invest in to allow themselves to continue to grow. And, because every kid here is on a different path. Some want to go pro, some are going to go a different route. Some just love to keep playing. Some love this environment and love being here. And, but they're always eager to find a way to, hey, how can I improve? Or can you give me any feedback? And so I think it's important that not just myself, but our staff really finds those side conversations to give value back to the players. And so they're walking away with something not just for themselves, but also as a team. And, the biggest thing too is, I think, they've made a lot of friends here. They're starting to make friendships and grow relationships. And, as a manager, I think those are very important, that they've created these relationships. And I've created relationships with them. I get phone calls from them when they're away at their colleges asking for advice, or just being an ear and trying to steer them in the right direction as a mentor coach. And then the other side of this is explaining to them that, one of my roles within this division this year is I'm like the divisional rep for scouting for our division with all the coaches within the division on players that we want to recognize that can play pro or go into the Super League. So they now have that person standing in front of them, coaching them and saying, if you do well enough here, I will help promote you. But you've got to put in the work. You've got to put in the extra stuff because there's a lot of naivety still and there's a lot of growth still. And so, I find the investment for me into them as a manager is I'm an educator. And when you're an educator, you travel different paths with your students, right? Because they learn differently. And that's what you have to decipher through with a group of players.
Julie Carlson is the head coach, the manager, the gaffer of the Greenville Liberty of the USLW League. They kick off their season tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at Paladin Stadium. I will be on the call for that game. Cannot wait to get back on the mic. Cannot wait to see the ladies take the pitch once again. Coach, you are the best. Thanks for coming by. Good luck tomorrow. Good luck this season.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, and thank you for having me today.
Anytime. Coach Carlson, she's the best, man. She's the best. You add on top of all the responsibility of coaching the W League team, you add on that responsibility, she is also working with the Triumph as an analyst, as an inputter, as a manager. She's great. She is busting it. Hey, guess what? We have breaking news. Actual, real, not joking breaking news. The Charlotte Hornets have a new head coach. And I'll tell you who it is and why I kind of don't hate it when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Have agreed to a contract. 28-year-old played last season for the Eagles. He was drafted by the Seahawks when current Panthers head coach Dave Canales.
Look outside. No, the parking lot.
Filling up.
No, you don't see directly in front of you. You can't see that parking job.
The white car?
No.
The gold car?
Yes.
I mean, technically, they are in the
So
lines.
you're okay with gangsters?
You're in the lines.
As
You're in
long
the
as you're in the
lines.
lines, you can gangster.
The car can be sideways. If you got one of those little smart cars and it fits sideways, I don't care. Stay in the
Back in the
lines.
day, they called it gangster. I don't know if they call it.
Call it whatever you want. In the lines is in the line. Can you really be a G when you're parking in the lines?
I don't think you can. Okay, so that is doing that automatically. All right. That answers my question. I don't like that they've taken it out of our hands, though, because I'm still not sure how big the signal is in Anderson.
Once again, a severe thunderstorm warning continues for parts of Elbert, Franklin, Hart, Anderson, and Oconee counties until 9 a.m. this morning. Bear in mind, the storm has the potential for pea-sized hail and wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Eric Height on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows southbound 85 not pleasant this morning. Soon after you come out of Spartanburg and pass Highway 290 with Hitcher Bridge.
I think fair to come back with the glass on this.
I don't know. You've already said it, but okay. Whatever you want, Rob.
If you're facing $10, $20, even $30,000 or more in credit,
Just don't forget the sponsor.
bills or other unsecured debt.
Yup.
Stop struggling to stay afloat and call Accredited Debt Relief today for faster relief. Depending on your financial situation, you may qualify for a 40% or higher reduction in your monthly payments and only have to make one consolidated monthly payment you can afford. Accredited Debt Relief has helped over 300,000 qualified consumers pay off over $1 billion in debt, earning them an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. This is the
I bet the weather's doing that.
Become debt-free. So make the
My ROC is messing up, and I don't. It's weird.
There's no obligation, so call now and get relief from your debt faster.
Call 888-794-4844. 888-794-4844. That's 888-794-4844. Program and services not available in all states. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you one of the nearly 10 million families that own a timeshare? Unfortunately, many families stuck in timeshares have learned the dark side of ownership, as their timeshare ends up being nothing like they were promised. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. If you were lied to when buying a timeshare, you're going to need help. I know this because I once was a timeshare salesman, but quit the business and made it my personal mission to help folks get rid of bad timeshares. That's why I put together a timeshare exit information kit to help you understand how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Over 30,000 families have trusted us to get rid of their timeshare. Many started out by simply calling us for the free information kit and are now timeshare free.
To get your free information.
Hello, I'd like to get out of my timeshare.
Call 800-837-1919. That's 800-837-1919. 800-837-1919.
I make little notes over here about things I want to go back and listen to or pull clips from. And I wrote down promo, horse eats dinner. And it took me like a minute to find out what was I talking about that I said horse eats dinner makes good promo.
Yeah, and then when you thought of breaking news, you remembered why.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and I just
Yeah, break the glass because we got breaking news. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books with our friends at BetQL. Grab the BetQL app today. And do not forget to listen Saturdays from noon to 4 on the BetQL network as myself and former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker take you through all the news and gambling advice that you could possibly want on a Saturday afternoon. It's Bet for the Cycle, noon to 4 on the BetQL network. The Charlotte Hornets have officially named their next head coach. He is former Boston. This is interesting. Former and technically current Boston Celtics assistant coach Charles Lee. Hornets Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations Jeff Peterson announced this morning, quite literally minutes ago, that Charles Lee has been hired as the head coach. He has 10 years of experience as an NBA assistant coach and will join the Hornets after concluding the NBA playoffs with the Celtics, where he has spent the 23-24 season as the team's top assistant coach. Peterson said, quote, "We are excited to welcome Charles Lee as the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. His high character and his ability to connect with players while also instilling a culture of accountability will serve us well as we construct a competitive team built for long-term success. Charles possesses a championship pedigree with a wide range of basketball knowledge and NBA experience and has a tremendous work ethic and is a great communicator. He shares our vision for this organization, and I look forward to partnering with him and building something special here in the Carolinas," end quote. Prior to his time in Boston, Lee served 5 seasons as an assistant coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, ascending to associate head coach and helping guide the team to the 2020-21 NBA championship. He started his NBA career as an assistant for 4 seasons with the Atlanta Hawks. Throughout his 10 NBA season, Lee's teams have accumulated a 5-10 and 291 regular season record. That is a 63.7% winning percentage. Reached the playoffs 9 times, captured 7 division titles, and earned 5 Eastern Conference #1 seeds. In 4 of the last 6 seasons, his teams have finished the regular season with the best record in the NBA. Now, this is very interesting to me because on one hand, that's a staggering set of numbers. When you have more Eastern Conference titles than you don't, that's a staggering number. On the flip side, Charles Lee is a part of Boston. He did not build Boston. He is an assistant head coach, not the head coach in Boston. I will actually say that he gets a lot of credit this year for what's happened with the Boston Celtics. He gets a lot of credit for that. And he gets a lot of credit for that because I do not believe in Joe Mazzulla. I do not believe in the head coach of the Boston Celtics right now. I think, frankly, Mazzulla's a little out of his depth. I don't think he has the sway that you want a coach to have over a team that has as much talent as this one does with Tatum and Brown and White and Porzingis, et cetera. I think he's good. I think he's a good organizational coach. I don't think he's an X's and O's guy. I think Charles Lee gets a lot of the credit for the communication with a very, very good depth chart that keeps them playing well, that keeps them flowing. And I think there's something to be said for that. During this year, the Boston Celtics finished with the NBA's top record of 64-18. The 64 wins marked the fourth most in a season in the history of that very storied franchise. With Lee's assistance, the Celtics led the NBA in offensive rating and net rating while finishing third in defensive rating. While in Milwaukee, despite 2 COVID-shorted seasons, the Bucks averaged 54.2 wins over the course of Lee's 5 years with the team, including a 60-win campaign in 2018-19, tying for the third most victories in a season in the history of that franchise. And again, you can make the argument that he was underneath a very good head coach at the time, a head coach who had no business being fired in Milwaukee, a head coach that was fired because the team decided that they were the most important thing, asked him to get gone, and look at the Bucks now. Look at him now. Ain't the same team anymore. Charles Lee was a big part of that. And that's part of the reason that he was not there anymore, because when Charles Lee was with Milwaukee, the expectation was that Charles Lee would eventually become the head coach of that program. The expectation was that Charles Lee was expected to become the BMOC in Milwaukee, but they passed because they wanted to get somebody that was going to make Giannis and Dame and everybody else happy. And that's why they've had multiple coaching changes in the last couple of years. So Charles Lee went to Boston. Charles Lee, as far as I am concerned, and from what I understand, Charles Lee kind of became the players' coach. From what I understand, the players are not super high on Joe Mazzulla, but they like Charles Lee a lot. And to me, Charlotte's got to be real careful with this hire. They had to find the right guy for this hire because this team is young. There's a very good young core for this team. I hope LaMelo Ball gets some Bionic Man ankles for next year, whatever it takes. I hope they Steve Austin him, not Stone Cold kind, the first kind, the old kind, the 70s TV show kind. I hope that Brandon Miller continues to grow and blossom as a player, because that guy, if you remember, was third place in Rookie of the Year voting this year. If Victor Wembanyama was not a freak of nature, Brandon Miller would have been second to Chet Holmgren in the Rookie of the Year voting. He's a very good player. And they, as we have pointed out, have a treasure chest of draft picks they have built up for the next 2 drafts. They can go hard in the paint. But when you have a young player, and a young player core, you need, in my opinion, you need to have a coach that can communicate both on their level while developing them to the next level. That's why I love that conversation with Julie Carlson we just had. That's literally her job. The Greenville Liberty are what's called a pre-professional league. Pre-professional is for amateur athletes. This is for athletes that are not professionals. It is for aspiring college players. It is for current college players. And it is for retired professionals who just want to play a little bit more football before they ride off into the sunset. And Julie has to do an excellent job of mixing and matching those players in order to help develop and grow the next generation so that they can go off to college and be great players. Or while they're in college, they can grow into professionals who maybe make it to the NWSL moving forward or wherever they're going to go, internationally, whatever. There are players, or there's at least one player that has come from the Greenville Liberty and is representing the United States women's national team now on their U20 team and will be on that team, on the big dog team, the Olympic team one day. That's Julie's job. And that's what Charlotte needed. That's why this hire makes sense to me. Because you got a guy who's been in the league 10 years as an assistant. But he ain't old. Charles Lee is not old. Charles Lee is my age. He is 39. And if there's one thing that all of you know from listening to this show, it's that there are some of us that are 39 and we're still hip. We're still cool, as the great Carlito might say. We're still cool. I can still talk to the youths. I can still talk to the young people and make them see the bigger picture. That's what I do. It's how I'm making this country better. I'm the bridge between the old and the new, the young and the old. That's what I do.
I'm not going to respond. I'm just letting you go. I mean, that's some amazing work there.
You need to calm down.
Point is, Charles Lee is still young. He's 39. He is not out of the realm. He's not a 60-year-old head coach. I very frequently question how much longer Greg Popovich can go. Because as much as I love Pops, and I will say Pops is still around for one primary reason, Pops is always giving the players a voice. That's one of the reasons he's as good as he is. He has always given the players a voice. When the players say, this is a cause that matters to me, Pop speaks out. And he doesn't particularly care how you feel about what he has to say. He cares what the 15 guys in the locker room have to say about him. How they respect him, not you. But I also wonder at what point does Pops kind of lose the ability to genuinely communicate on a deeper than surface level with a young team? Charles Lee, I don't have to worry about that. He's 39 years old. And again, I get it. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying I'm like cool like I used to be. I'm clearly not. Look at me. I'm a fat, out of shape old man now. But I still can communicate. I will lose that ability at some point. At some point, the lingo with the kids will go too far that way. And my being locked in on my generation's lingo will that way. And the gulf between us will be to where I can't communicate anymore. Charles Lee's 39. He's my age. That's not a problem for him. And since Charlotte has a good young core that is going to continue to stay young because of the draft picks that they have over the next 2 years, this is exactly the kind of hire that you needed to make. I would have been way more worried if they would have picked one of the 56, 60, 65-year-old guys that were being listed as candidates for this job. I like this pick. Charles Lee comes down from Boston to be the new head coach of the Charlotte Hornets starting next year. When we come back in the next segment of the show, I have some comments that I would like to make about Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Indiana Pacers. And Rick, I got your back, my man. We'll talk about that. And then it's Thursday. And you know what that means. Time for Fight Club with the great Lonzo walking us through the worlds of boxing, MMA, and professional wrestling before we send it to the house. I want a glizzy and a sports flash.
Next year, Rob will be old. He'll be listening to 90s classic rock and drink orange juice with pulp in it.
Gross.
For the third time in his career, Denver Nuggets big man Nikola Jokic is your NBA MVP. Jokic topped Thunder forward Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Luka Doncic of Dallas for the award, both by a healthy margin. Taking 79 first-place votes, Jokic becomes the first center to win the award 3 times since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it in 73 through 76. The Braves responded to their road sweep at the hands of the Dodgers by sweeping Boston in a 2-game set with a 5-0 win last night. Marcell Ozuna home runned. He home runned twice in 4, and Ozzie Albies also added a home run of his own. Make sure you tune in 3-7 today for Wire to Wire with Cole and Diesel. and you're going to have a lot of fun. It's a great show. Jackson Rashad had a schedule for tomorrow because he had other work stuff to do. So he will be on, just not today. Sorry about that. We all miss Rashad. Just throws the entire week off when Rashad's not here. I, like most people around here, last night didn't get much sleep because of the storm. So, I mean, who knows what we're going to say in the last hour. Been doing really good, back on the treadmill 2 weeks straight. It's going to be really hard for me to do it today because, you know, I probably will, though. Getting back into the routine. But definitely a nap after that. As long as it's not still storming. If it is, I probably won't be nappy. I mean, I'm not trying to crack, but can you imagine if you lived in Elbert? It just, I live in Elbert. It just, I don't know.
Glizzy Fest Friday.
Are you an Elbertonian if you live in Elbert? I also don't. I think I'd have a hard time living in Beaufort. I mean, it might be beautiful there, and I probably have driven through it.
Where is Elbert?
I think it's in Georgia. That's why I'm saying.
There's an Elbert, Colorado. There's an Elbert County, Georgia.
That's what I think.
Has anybody ever? I don't say I'm from blank county unless I live in the middle of nowhere.
As we know, I do make fun of a couple counties.
Sure.
And
I think we make fun of counties, but I don't think I go, oh, I'm from Greenville County. Unless you're doing something that involves county business.
Like the county jail.
Jackson, you did not miss Rashad. Rashad had to reschedule for tomorrow. He has a real job.
I already told him.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry. Well, Lon's already told you.
Yeah. So
take that. He'll be with us tomorrow in his regular time slot of 8:40 a.m.
It's not Elberton. It's Elbert.
Just Elbert.
Just Elbert. Is what the weather guy said.
Yeah. Good night. Not yet. We still got
Come on.
54 minutes.
No, that's what I want tonight. That's what we all want tonight. Is a good night, not a night like last night.
Still wild out there, still rainy, still nasty, still windy. I'll be careful out there, especially if you can work from home, you have my permission to do so today.
Wow.
You may call your boss and say, Rob Brown told me I may work from home today. So congratulations. You get the freebie. You get the hall pass. Rob said I can work from home today, boss man. Sorry. See you tomorrow. ... Maybe.
Yeah, you're not getting that from me. It's football. It's life. Get out and play in the weather.
Weather football sucks. Dome every stadium.
Go to work. Unless you're working outside, in which case, listen to everything Rob just said.
Dome every NFL stadium. Thank you, Chicago Bears, for getting it. Thank you for getting it.
You went Bears.
Bears playing inside. By the way, why? All right, this is old. I don't care. Caleb Williams did his introductory press conference, and when he ended the press conference, he leaned back down to the mic and he went, "Da Bears," and he got crap for that. Why?
Because he wasn't genuine, because he doesn't know what that is. He wasn't even alive when they did that skit. I'm just trying to think of all things that are probably being said. Or did he not have the accent down? I mean, if you nail the accent, even if you're young.
I mean, he didn't. He just kind of went, "Da Bears," and that was it.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, that's a cheap heat, or a cheap pop.
It's
you heading for
definitely
a cheap pop. Yeah.
But if you're brand new to the city and you're brand new to the team, you're trying to be endearing, and it might go a little sideways on you, but you're trying to be endearing. My man just said "Da Bears," and he got heat for it.
Well, if he doesn't like that, he better play better than Justin Fields.
Yeah,
because he's going to get destroyed if he doesn't.
For the record, he does not get the grace period that Justin Fields got, I don't think.
No, because they brought him in. They're saying Justin Fields is not the guy. We made a mistake. We're bringing this guy in because he's better, so he needs to be better.
I don't think that they're saying we made a mistake so much as Caleb Williams is better. He's just better.
We'll see.
Better.
We'll see.
Texas said the Bears is building a dome because Caleb Williams is too prissy to play in the snow. First off, then so am I. And I don't care what you say about me. I genuinely don't.
Yeah, prissy is your nickname around the building.
That's fine by me.
It's not really. And you're not like, I mean, you want to paint your fingernails. I think it's weird, but I'm not going to judge your manhood on it, I guess. Go out and play the game of football and play it at a high level, but you better play better than Justin Fields.
I agree with the last part. I do not care if he paints his fingernails. I don't care if he has a pink phone case. I don't care if he was
upset. Of course you don't care about pink. You've been talking about pink all day.
I know. I want those jerseys to be hot. I mean, hot pink. I mean, neon. I mean, see them from space pink. I hope. I don't care about any of that. It is 2024. The Utes do not care about subscribing to your view of what a football player should be. None of that matters.
You know who might care? Other players on other teams.
Don't care.
After you've been sacked and they hold your helmet on the ground so they can stand up, there might be some words said.
I mean, that's to every QB.
It is, but you've given them a little bit of fire, so you better be really good.
I do think the dude's going to be good. All right, let me get to a conversation that I wanted to have about something that Rick Carlisle said yesterday. Rick Carlisle, of course, is the head coach of the Indiana Pacers. Last night, the Pacers playing game 2 against the New York Knickerbockers. In that game, Jalen Bruson, their superstar player, left in the first quarter with a leg injury. He came out in the second half and scored 24 of his 29 down the stretch as the Knicks took a 131-21 Game 2 victory, gave them a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Late in the game, there were a couple of, shall we say, questionable whistles and questionable decisions from the officials. And Rick got a little hot. He was upset about several calls, including the reversal of a double dribble violation that would have given the Pacers a key possession with the game still very much in doubt. It was the opposite of what happened back in game 1, in which a kicked ball violation was called an error against the Pacers, but not corrected. A decision that ended up potentially causing as much as a 5-point swing. Scratch that, as much as a potential 6-point swing. In this one, there was a double dribble. It was reversed. It gave the Knicks the ball again, and the Knicks took advantage of that. Carlisle got very heated last night. He got 2 technical fouls and was ejected from the game. In the post-game press conference, Rick Carlisle popped off. He said that the Pacers identified 29 questionable calls that they say went unfairly against them from Monday night's game 1. Now, here's where he loses a little bit of credibility with me. He said they elected not to send them to the league office for review. They will be making another edit from Wednesday's game, and Carlisle said that this time he will send it. He said, quote, I decided not to submit them because I just felt like we'd get a more balanced whistle tonight. It didn't feel that way. I'm always talking to our guys about not making it about the officials, but we deserve a fair shot. He would then go on to say in the sentence that jumped out at me, that made me absolutely get prepared to go to battle for Rick Carlisle. He said, quote, small market teams deserve an equal shot. They deserve a fair shot no matter where they are playing, end quote.
And he sent a strongly worded email. Way to go, you. Come on, man. Stop with the small market, big market stuff. So what you're saying is the NBA is fixed.
Not fixed.
That's what he's saying. Oh, the NBA is fixed.
I don't think
because the small market team is given it. What he's saying is the other team gets calls because they're a big market team and they don't because they're a small market team. That means it's fixed.
No. And I will lay out my case. Fixed means the outcomes are scripted. New York's winning this game.
NFL.
Indiana's winning that game. The whoever, the Pistons, or okay, that's a bad one.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, let's be a little more realistic.
The Lakers are winning this game. I do not believe that the NBA has predetermined outcome. Here's what I do believe. What I do believe is that small market teams are not treated the way that big market teams are treated. And here's why I say that. Great one, you have heard the argument about the Jordan rules, that NBA superstars get calls that NBA average players do not. Do you believe that to be the case?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But does Indiana have a star worthy of that?
Wait, no, don't run further than I am. Stick with me here. All right. I'm running a marathon. You're running a sprint.
Well, my words are few. They've got to be fast.
Stick with me. You believe, I believe. In fact, I think that the majority of us believe that NBA superstars, LeBron, Jokic, Embiid, they get special treatment when it comes to the refs. And it may not be overwhelming, but it does happen. You believe it? I believe it. I'd be willing to bet if I put out a poll on Twitter right now, do you believe that NBA superstars get special treatment from referees? The answer is going to be an overwhelming yes. So if you believe that referees, consciously or not, give a special bias to NBA superstars, why is it difficult to believe that the same referees, consciously or not, would give special treatment to super teams? Now, when I say super teams, I'm not talking about like Bosch, Wade, James. I'm talking about the teams that are legacy teams in the NBA. I'm talking about the Knicks. I'm talking about the Lakers. I'm talking about the Celtics. I'm talking about the Bulls.
I get what you're saying, legacy, but why is New York a legacy team? What have they ever done?
The New York Knicks in Madison Square Garden are considered a face of the association franchise.
Come here and watch a mid team, which is what they generally are.
It does not matter. The Dallas Cowboys have been mid since 1995. Yet, if we stick around and we put on this channel for long enough, do you want to bet me we get a Cowboys segment today?
Oh, you're
damn right.
You're probably right, but still.
It is not about how many trophies a team puts in the trophy case. It's about how much they sell. That is why no matter what, the LA Angels in baseball have one player. They have Mike Trout, who, by the way, is now out and hurt. They have an owner by the name of Artie Moreno. Artie Moreno does something incredible. You know what he does? He and John Fisher of the Oakland Athletics, the soon-to-be Just Athletics, because they're not going to have a city in their name next year. He and John Fisher have done something that very few people are capable of doing. Great one. He has managed to unite every sports broadcaster in America against them. Everybody. There is not an athlete, coach, general manager, owner. There is no figure in sports that has 100% of sports talk personalities, radio guys, writers, television floating heads, whatever. There's no coach, GM, player, or owner that has 100% support. There's always going to be somebody that criticizes even the most beloved owners out there for decisions that they have made. There are owners who have 100% hate. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I'm still cool. Haters. 100% haters. And Artie Moreno's one.
Why were you questioning whether you should do that or not? You've never done that before. Are you okay?
The rain's got to my head today, you know? It's got me all up in my hands. So Artie Moreno has done that. And how has Artie Moreno done that? Artie Moreno has done that by making the Angels bad, but because the Angels play where? That's Los Angeles, the #1 television market in America. And despite the fact that right across town, the Los Angeles Dodgers have built, at this point, I think it is fair to say, even as a Braves fan, the best baseball team in MLB right now, power ranked right now, might change. The Angels are making no moves to get better. Why? Because Artie Moreno is milking that team for every damn cent he can get out of it. Why? How can he do that? Because he's in LA. That's the answer. The New York Knicks are in New York. It is the #2 television market in America. It is the second biggest outlet, second biggest market that you can be in. The Knicks, even when the Knicks suck, and they have sucked a lot over the years, even when the Knicks suck, Madison Square Garden sells out and the Knicks get primetime TV spot, because if nothing else, they'll pop a Knicks Celtics game on and go, the rivalry renews. And the promos are what? The promos are Bird and whoever else from the Knicks back in the day. They're showing you Patrick Ewing.
Yeah.
Right?
And the most hated guy as far as
I
we talked
hated
about.
Patrick
No,
Ewing.
John Starks was so much worse.
True. That's fair. I, as a kid,
Such a punk, man.
hated Patrick Ewing. But the point is,
And Charles Oakley, he was a punk.
Charles
too.
Oakley.
Still is a punk.
Sure,
Got kicked out of Madison Square Garden.
which is impressive. You understand how vulgar you got to be to get kicked out of a place in New York friggin' City? Like, real bad. So the point is, they will still put Knicks games on primetime television, and they will go, look at the legacy of this team. Look at the history of this team. You should watch them because of the history of this team. Doesn't matter if they're mid. They sell. They sell a lot. And so if you are willing to accept, as you do, as I do, again, as I think even the most hardcore of NBA fans do, that officials, consciously or subconsciously, give special treatment to superstar players, why is it impossible that they would give super team treatment to the super teams? Not super teams in terms of players, super teams in terms of franchises, the historic franchises, the legacy franchises, the franchises that, let's call a spade a spade. If you put a game on tonight and you had to fill one of the two teams, and I said to you, $1 million for the highest television rating that you can get, and if you reach a certain mark, then I will make sure you get that bonus. And you have the opportunity to put on the Knicks or the Pacers. Who are you picking right now? You're picking the Knicks. You're picking the Knicks. And if you don't pick the Knicks, you're just wasting money. You're picking the Knicks. That is why I think that Rick Carlisle kind of has a point. Because I think if you accept that NBA officials are giving special treatment to superstars, and we do, then it is not a huge stretch of the imagination to believe that they do the same thing for preferred franchises that would bring more eyes to the TV. Right now in the NBA, the Pacers, whether or not they would make an active decision that influenced this, I don't think that they would. Just so we are very clear, I don't think that they would. But right now, I think that there is a panic in the NBA that you could end up with an NBA Finals of Indiana versus Oklahoma City. Two small markets. Not small compared to, Greenville, South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina, but small compared to Dallas, small compared to Denver, small compared to Boston, certainly small compared to New York. They don't want that. And so I just wonder if, again, subconsciously, officials kind of don't walk themselves into that. And Rick Carlisle, is it potential great one that this is just sour grapes from Rick Carlisle? Yes.
He looks like that type of guy.
Yes.
He absolutely looks like angry dude just gets mad about everything.
It is absolutely a large possibility that this is just sour grapes from a coach that's down in a hole, 0-2, and frankly has no idea how he's going to climb out of it. That is a 1,000% a distinct possibility. However, I have believed for years that there is preferential treatment to big market NBA teams. This is why every single offseason, we didn't even make it to the offseason before the idiots are on TV going, get Zion to New York, make him a Knick. I don't know. That's not how Brian Windhorst speaks, but you get it. Get him to New York. Get him up out of New York. Why? Why do we not deserve to have a superstar? Why does my team, even in the smallest market, not deserve a freaking chance?
Seems kind of personal, doesn't it? Now we get what that entire segment was over.
Very personal. Very, very personal. When we come back, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. It's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Almost had to Chad you. Okay.
Shoosh. Lonzo's got to pee, everybody.
Yes, I do.
All right. Be right back, guys. Okay. right, guys. We just got fired during the break.
Stop that. We did not. We did not.
Will you adapt the Hornets as your second favorite team? I actually do like the Hornets. I've actually always kind of liked the Hornets, to be honest. I bought a Hornets hoodie that's super dope. I should bring it in here because it's cold in the studio. But yes, I do like the Hornets.
Welcome to the Fight Club, where Rob and I, when we go into a restaurant, we don't have to say, do you know who we are? Because you know who we are.
Yeah.
There's someone who has a problem with doing that. Ric Flair went, do you know who I am? And went off on a guy at a bar, looks like a bar restaurant type thing. And he didn't back down. And if you watch the video, the kid didn't back down after Rick, because he cut him off, is my understanding, and then talked about his cursing, because I guess Rick was letting him fly in the place. And it was not a good look for Ric Flair. It was not. It's pretty, I mean, it's, first of all, was he like 77 or something? He's pretty old.
Let me put it this way. Rob Brown is an imbiber. I've never made that a secret from you guys. I like to head down to the local watering hole and have myself a brewski, 75 by the way, have myself a brewski or two. But there is, I don't care who you are. And obviously I'm pretty much as famous locally as Ric Flair is nationally. Like I'm like the Ric Flair of this area.
Yeah,
sure.
without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark. I do not care who you are, and I don't care how big you get. There are just some social norms that you should get. And when somebody comes to you and says, hey, can you stop blank in this bar? If you don't like it, go to a new bar. There are bars I go to that nobody cares if you just reach back and scream at the top of your lungs. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And then there are
Is that
bars
usually
that you
followed
don't.
by a punch when you hear that?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, people just don't, because again, this is what we were talking about with my dog Cole earlier this week when he said, oh, some things are allowed, but they're not right. Now, that's very subjective. To me, curse words ain't a bad thing. But I will also acknowledge that if it's just me and Lonzo, I won't use them out of respect to Lonzo. If there's other people in the room, it's a little gray area between all of us. But there are things that you do out of respect to other people. And Rick crossed a bunch of lines here and got abusive. And I'm not good with that.
Very much abusive to the point where he's going to give the one bartender $1,000 tip, and is if she calls the dude a name. And also he kept trying to get him to come outside to show him what a man is. And then there's a guy like two guys down who said, I'll go outside with you. He said it a couple times. Sure. And it's like that guy had enough of Rick saying all that stuff. And the guy's smart enough to look and go, he's drunk out of his mind. Yeah. I got this.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a guy in a bar that's going to fight somebody, you might as well beat up Ric Flair, because at least you get a reputation, you know?
That's true.
You know what I did the other day?
I kicked Ric Flair's ass.
Yes, I did. So there's that.
It's incredible. It really is. Now, this is, as you said, and accurately, this is a bad look on Rick. It's a bad look, man. Like, you are at the point now where you should be going city to city with AEW or WWE or wherever you want, and just having people dote on you for having one of the greatest careers, being on, I think, fair to say, the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. And instead, you're getting tanked in the daytime. And again, I'm not even against day drinking. I day drink. I'm a big fan of it. But like, when you get to the point that you realize you're tanked when the sun's up and you are abusing people, that's when you got a problem. That's why I like to drink. I'm a happy drinker. Rick got angry.
Are you a hugger?
You've seen me.
Yeah.
I love everybody after a couple of beers.
Well, you love everybody before
that's
that.
Also true,
so
but I love you even more.
Yeah. He looks like he's by himself too, because you would think if he had some people in his crew, they would stop him.
People like that are ordinarily followed by yes men,
or they might join in.
Yeah,
and you get none of that. It's just him versus these people.
It's just some old. And by the way, if you're not a wrestling person, Right? If Ric Flair walks in the room, Lonzo and I are both going to be like, holy smokes, that's Ric Flair.
It depends on what room we're in.
That's also
too.
true. If I'm in a bar, we're like, oh, crap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's time for me to go.
If you're not a wrestling fan, then he's just some weird 75-year-old with greasy hair getting slobber knockered at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's a normal clientele probably. I'm just saying, although he's a little bit older than the other guys one guy at the bar looks like he might be about his age.
Yeah.
So it just, and you're right. If that guy had recognized he's Ric Flair, talking about the guy behind the bar, does he treat him any differently? I don't know because of how Rick's acting.
I was having this conversation not too long ago with somebody. We forgive who we choose to forgive. It is a human trait. We forgive who we and we are willing to forgive certain people for certain things because of other things that they are and that they've done, et cetera, that we will not forgive somebody who is like, this person did this, and also I don't like all these other things, so I won't forgive him. I think there's a lot of people who are old school wrestling fans that would have been like, all right, Rick, listen, you're going to end up trending on social media if you don't stop, and I don't want that. And then there are other people who are like, outside, old man, I will knock you down, and no problem with that. But either way, regardless of how he gets treated,
across the bar is filming the whole thing. I mean, it's a guy. There's some guy just sitting there at the bar.
He knows it's Ric Flair.
The filming the whole thing, and Rick's not noticing that.
For the record, if you are drunk enough to get cut off at a bar and act like that when you do, it's not like there's going to be anybody there to talk some sense into you. You're way past that point. So I'm just going to say, bad look for Rick. And at 75 years old, with all of the public relations nightmares that he has had plaguing him his entire career, at this point, I think it's fair to say Ric Flair is one of the greatest and most important wrestlers in the history of the sport, and also needs to shut the hell up. That's it.
Agreed. Let's jump into some MMA real quick and then jump back into wrestling. There's a video going around about Sean O'Malley's corner, and one of his coaches is yelling something to his opponent that it makes it look like he's yelling to his opponent, and I can't pronounce his name, saying, you got to go now, you got to go now, and saying the opponent's name, and the opponent goes in and O'Malley wins the fight. Is that frowned upon? I mean,
it appears as though Sean O'Malley's coach, Tim Welch, was yelling at Aljamain Sterling.
Is it Aljamain Sterling?
Yep.
I thought it was somebody else.
And
okay.
Yelled at Aljamain Sterling, Aljo, you got to go.
Aljo, that's what it was. That's what threw me off.
Aljo, you got to go. And then Sterling advances with a left and gets knocked down by the immediate counter. And I am going to say that's dirty. That's dirty.
That's what I'm asking you legitimately. Do you consider that dirty?
Yes.
Because I don't know.
Yes, it is.
I would think as a fighter, you would recognize your own coaches. How's that any different than someone in the crowd doing it?
Because of where it's coming from, right? Because of
the opposite corner of your people.
If you are I'm going to give Aljamain a little bit of a bump here. I think that if you are in the middle of a fight, trying to punch someone in the head and trying to not be punched in the head, and you hear from, I don't think in that moment you're going to be like, oh, that came from behind me. That means I think in that moment you just hear a keyword. Because the other thing is, as a MMA coach, you are going to develop short phrases with your fighter. And then, Pavlovian train him. When you hear this phrase, you do this. I don't care where you are in the fight. And if you hear me say, Aljo, you got to go, you shoot the legs in that exact second. Because that means as the coach, the analyst, I'm seeing O'Malley do something that I think opens him up. So blah, blah, blah. And I think in that moment, that's more of a reaction. I hear these words, I got to go, than it is anything else. And because of that, yes, I think this is dirty.
All right. I know I brought this up, and I know I'm supposed to have an opinion on it, but I don't know what my opinion is. I think this is going to require some more thought from me. And I just saw this morning, and I wrote it on the thing after I'd already typed everything out. And I don't know. It may be in bad taste, but I don't think it's out of the realm of. I don't think he should get in trouble for it.
I don't think you can do anything to Shane O'Malley. I think you can suspend that coach for a fight.
Can you?
Yeah, I absolutely.
I mean, I don't know.
I think again, I don't know that it is probably not, honestly, a written rule that a coach can, because I don't know how you legislate that.
Right.
You can't yell the name of the other fighter.
Right.
Like, I don't know how you legislate it, but I do know that, and you guys know me, I think the concept of unwritten rules are very dumb when it comes to baseball, football. I think they're very dumb. But I think in this case, especially with the intensity that an in-process bout is, I think a coach yelling the name of the other fighter and a command at them, knowing that that is how coaches and fighters communicate in a fight, I kind of think that's dirty pool. I put that in the same boat as Jim Harbaugh stealing signs at Michigan. It's the same thing.
Is it? I don't think so.
In fact, I'd almost say it's worse, to be honest.
I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards, I don't have a problem with it that much. Do I think it's in bad taste? Absolutely. I think it's absolutely in bad taste, but I don't think he should be fined or suspended for it.
I'd set him for a fight.
All right.
Even if it's the McGregor fight.
In case you guys didn't know this, now you know. Damian Priest, the champ, is going to be sitting right over there come Monday. He's going to be sitting in the studio come Monday. So you have between now and Monday to get some questions in if you want us to ask Damian. Sure. Some good ones though. I mean, don't you know the one I'm talking about? Don't send that question, Keegan, because we're not gonna ask that question. Keegan's just a name that just came to mind.
Yeah,
it's not
even in here to defend himself.
It's not even a specific person, but yeah, don't do that.
I'm actually really excited about this conversation, and I'm excited for a bunch of different reasons. I'm excited to ask him about the growth of the Judgment Day and like kind of how because remember when the Judgment Day started, it didn't really feel like it was a faction that was going to be a powerhouse. That more Keegan. It didn't really feel like a powerhouse that was, it really, you know what it felt like? It felt like it was something, it was just to give Dom and Finn something to do.
All right. So that's a question I was going to ask, but you're going to ask that question and we'll do our thing where we put it, but I'm going to tell you a question that I want to ask and you can say, no, I want to ask it. I'm going to ask him about the difference going from NXT to WWE and NXT PLE compared to WrestleMania and then Lyon France.
I'm good with that.
Because of what we saw that crowd did and what is the loudest crowd he's ever been in.
I think that's good. I very much intend on asking him about what it was like to get wrestle in front of Puerto Rico. I very much intend on asking him because he has kind of been one of those guys that over the years he has kind of been the gateway for a number of the celebrities.
We have to talk about Bad Bunny for sure.
Logan Paul did some stuff with him, like a lot of the celebrities that come in, and that to me says he is a very trusted member of the right. Him and the Miz are the two guys that every celebrity gets paired up with, and I'd like to talk about. That.
Probably not Trey because it's a different company now. And
we can't. We can't. That is one thing we can't do. But what we can do is ask him about his NXT days, ask him about the transition between the Archer of Infamy to what he is today.
Yeah, so many things. I can't wait to see how big he really is. And I'm guessing he might be the biggest wrestler we've had in studio. Now,
I think Gunther's bigger.
I do not. And we'll find out. We already know height. We already checked. He's taller than Gunther.
He is.
I think he's thicker now. He's not as thick as Walter was, but he's thicker than Gunther.
That Walter guy, man.
Yeah,
I really liked him.
That Walter guy was a little on the burger after burger after burger kind of thing. So
we'll talk to Damian Priest. I believe that is 8:40 on Monday.
Okay.
I believe it is 8:40 on Monday. I will be getting that confirmed. But I believe that is going to be at 8:40 on Monday morning. If that time changes, then I will announce it tomorrow. I will announce it Monday morning before that time, and I will put it on social media. But I believe 8:40.
Fingers crossed. Possibility of anybody else, or are we just getting?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be him.
Okay.
Although I have been told in days gone by that sometimes there is a last second surprise, like somebody gets in town earlier and they're like, "Screw it, I'll go hang out."
Or maybe you're in a faction and someone just tags along.
You know who I want to show up?
Dumb, of course.
Mm-mm.
No,
Mm-mm.
she's hurt
Mhm.
somewhere, and
Mhm.
and thank
Mhm.
goodness I don't want to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
No, because I would have to talk
Mhm.
because Rob would just be over there drooling,
Mhm.
and you would finally
Hey,
you would
hey,
finally see him
hey,
speechless.
Hey, Rhea, remember when you were champion? That was awesome.
Yeah, you remember you remember when you were champion? Wow, I hope you wouldn't say that because that's kind of messed up. Because she did not want to give that up. You could tell.
All right, we'll have Damian Priest, WWE champion, in here on Monday. Of course, Monday Night Raw next Monday, live at the Bon Score Wellness Arena in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. We're back after this to wrap up the Thursday edition of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
I had a bunch of other stuff, but we spent a lot of time on Rick, and we should because that's it's not good.
I need to start on Thursdays. I need to just get out of that first segment early.
Well, in order to do the thing that we have been instructed to do, it has to be So yeah. Well, you could take that first one on time, which we haven't. Yeah, he can't do the Chris Farley thing because that's my job. That's what I do. Except I do it legitimately because I am scared to death to interview people. I am trying to get better at it. It helps that they're wrestlers, though, because I don't know if you guys knew this, but I know a lot about wrestling. What the? Okay, that's not good. Interesting. Glitch in the Matrix. I probably didn't get it, Trey, because I've had very little sleep last night. I hope so, Wesley. Or maybe I don't. I mean, some of us, we have weaknesses we'll never overcome. Actually, I'm much better at it now than I was 26 years ago. And you may listen and go, yeah, but you're pretty bad now. You should have heard me 26 years ago. Oh, okay, Trey. Like I said, like most of us probably awakened quite a few times last night and lay in the bed afraid.
Okay. That son of a biscuit.
I'm back in it. Back in it.
That's 4-2, man.
Still back in it.
Still
back in it.
All right. I have just been, we've been talking about the name for the Spartanburg baseball team. I am against the name Spartans. I think it is one of a very small group of names I'm actually against. It's just a little on the nose. However, there is a, let's say, genre of names that has just been opened up to me. And I'm actually a little bit shocked and disappointed in myself that I did not arrive here.
You should be. You're better than that.
I am. And it's a little bit shocking because, as you all know, I am a huge history dork. Where's Trevor?
Dork.
There's Trevor.
Dork.
That's me. Huge history dork.
Dork.
And I have, since I moved here, Because I will say, as a failure of the American educational system, not me, I'm not a failure of it.
I was going to say,
A failure within the American
you went to college for like 9 years, right? So how can you be a... Wait, that was that other guy.
My dad's very dead, but he would have laughed his ass off at that, just so you know.
Okay.
Okay? He would have laughed his ass off at that.
So not necessarily a dad joke, but a Rob's dad joke.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
That's
all
a
right.
joke that would have made my dad laugh. Because he did not love my academic career.
Sometimes you're uncertain of what direction you're going to go in.
I was very much running on my own time. Anyway, when I moved here, I got very engrossed in and remain very engrossed in the Revolutionary War era of the South because, and this is true, there were more battles fought in the state of South Carolina alone. This does not include Georgia. This does not include North Carolina. This does not include Virginia. There were more Revolutionary War battles fought in the state of South Carolina than in the entire Northeast combined. Boston, Trenton, Bunker Hill, Lexington and Concord, Monmouth, more battles fought in South Carolina alone than all of those combined. It's a very important history. And what happened at Cowpens, what happened at, pick your battles of South Carolina. But what happened in the lead up to Cowpens, Kings Mountain, the race to the Dan, that is all of that played a part in what pushed Lord General Cornwallis to Yorktown, Virginia. And of course, at that point, even though it was General Greene, Nathaniel Greene, that pushed him there, and this is kind of a fun part, George Washington came down to Yorktown. He had nothing to do with it. He was there for the siege. He just came to be a glory hog. It was the armies, the regiments, and the militias in the South that actually pushed Cornwallis to Yorktown and were up with the French.
That's a very Southern attitude.
It 100% is, but it is also a fact.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
It sounds like
you want to go toe to toe with me on this?
No, because I don't know.
Correct, and
but
I do.
I can research. It just sounds like kind of an opinion.
It is very.
So you make it sound like he had no legitimate reason to be there other than to
finish it. He came down to finish it.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Okay,
but he had
you made it sound like
he had not much to do with the actual Battle of Yorktown, other than show up and be there for the surrender. Anyway, blah blah blah. Let me get to the point because I do want to get X in here before we call it a day. Camden, another great battle. Not really. We got our asses kicked at Camden, but everything that happened at Kings Mountain, which was the devastation of the Loyalist militias. That led to Cowpens. Cowpens, of course, Daniel Morgan pulled the only double envelopment of that war, forced Bannister Tarleton, took away the majority of the prime portion of the British Army. He had to go back to Cornwallis. Cornwallis started chasing Morgan. Morgan rode back up to North Carolina. Cornwallis chased him in order to try to catch him, burned all his baggage and supplies. When Nathaniel Greene crossed the Dan River, he took every boat within 50 miles, so the British could not cross the river, and they were far from their supply line, so they had to go all the way back down to Camden and 96, etc. And it allowed Daniel Morgan and them, because they went up to Charlotte where they had resupplies, to completely resupply, and it reset the war in the South. Blah, blah, blah. Point is, at the Battle of Cowpens, which to me was the linchpin of the war, Cowpens effectively won the war for the Americans. Daniel Morgan won the war for the Americans at the Battle of Cowpens. And at the Battle of Cowpens was the infamous Spartan Regiment, a regiment for whom Spartanburg is named after. The regiment was formed in 1775 at Wofford's Iron Mill. It was held, the Spartan Regiment met every 2 weeks to train for battle. They ended up, and the snow campaign, they ended up in Paris Mills, Greenville District, and then they ended up at the Battle of Cowpens. And because of the Battle of Cowpens, we won that war. If you want to go that direction, what about the Spartanburg Regiment? I love this. Then you can go with a kind of like traditional patriotic military theme to it. The regiment is not a name that I'm aware of anybody using. It is a perfect description for a team. Regiment is a team. I love the regiment. That's a great suggestion. We got that from Frank Howard on Twitter. He submitted.
It's not that Frank Howard.
No, it's not that Frank Howard. He submitted a list of names that some I very much liked.
That Frank Howard has a rock that people like to touch on Saturdays.
The Spartanburg militiamen he submitted, along with the Spartanburg rednecks, which I'm also very in on. I said I could get down with the militia, and then he responded with what about the Spartanburg regiment? And I love that. It is a nod to the Revolutionary War history of this state, of the upstate of South Carolina as a whole. It's a great name for a team. The uniforms could be dope as hell, and it pays homage to the history of the upstate. The regiment is a great name.
No way.
Great name.
No way it would happen.
Why?
Because of current climates and things like that. I'm just saying they're anti this, anti that.
Nah, I think you're being dramatic.
Yeah.
I think you're being dramatic.
Am I? Okay.
I think so.
All right. I don't think I am.
If anybody here is going to be in touch with the woke people, it's me.
It's not just about one side or the other. It's about both sides. So, I mean, I think to get the most people into a place, you're going to try to be as I don't know. Not unpopular. The words are escaping me because I'm sleepy.
I think what you are saying would have a lot more weight if we were in New York or Philly or somewhere higher up on the Atlantic coast.
You're right. Spartanburg probably doesn't care.
Spartanburg would be great with that name.
I don't.
If this was a professional ball club, you might have a little bit of a better argument. But being a local regional club, I think the regiment works great. Spartanburg Regiment would be great. It's the Spartan Regiment. Now it's the Spartanburg Regiment.
Listen, I'm not saying it's a bad name. I just think out of all the names presented today, it's probably the most unrealistic as far as being picked.
Oh, man. I love that. I love that name. I really do.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents.
Always enjoy Rob's history lessons.
They were also at the Battle of Musgrove Mill and in the Siege of Charleston.
Okay.
In case you want to go learn some stuff.
I think we just did.
All
right. The first thing that's Xing is Kadarius Toney.
Not having his contract extension picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs because, well, you all saw him, is the reason why. He'll get picked up by somebody. Somebody will give him one more crack at it.
And they'll have like 3 really good catches and then
15 not.
Yeah. They'll think I got to admit, a lot of reaching today because not a lot going on that's not political. The next thing that's Xing is Reggie Miller.
Reggie Miller had a night last night. Of course, Reggie Miller was involved in the infamous feud between the Pacers and the Knicks where he hit Spike Lee on the sideline with the choke gesture after the Pacers won a game over the Knicks back in 90, whatever it was.
Where he hit like 53s in a row. That was an exaggeration, but
the Knicks.
Isn't that the one where he hit a 3, something happened, he got the ball back, jumped out of, took it out and hit another 3. I'm pretty sure that was that game.
He was all over them, and he obviously got into a very public spat with Spike Lee, the most famous Knicks fan on. Spike Lee is to the Knicks what Jack is to the Lakers. So last night during the game, they did a bunch of stuff comically, but also to kind of honor Reggie Miller and all that. And they brought him some framed newspaper clippings from the day after he beat the Knicks, and he went and hung out with Spike in a little while.
Which they signed it.
Yeah.
They
was very
signed
cool.
it. Yeah,
it was very cool.
Yeah.
Well, during the game when Reggie's on TV, they were chanting something with his name in it. You already know what it was going to be. But Jalen Brunson came over while Reggie's on the mic. And he goes, "Hey, I know you can't hear them, but they're chanting, you, Reggie, you, Reggie, you, Reggie." And Reggie was just kind of like, "Yeah, that checks out. That checks out." It was awesome, dude. It was cool. It was fun to watch.
Well, the fact that the player came over to make sure that he knew what they were saying, just so he could say it to him. That's a good move. All right. The next thing that's Xing is Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen is trending. I'm stabbing in the dark because the game is, if I don't know it, I got to make it up. There's a movie coming out that is directed by Jim Halpert and starring Deadpool that is about imaginary friends, and Seth Rogen plays one of them, and there's a clip that just came out with Seth Rogen's character, and people think it's funny.
That's not Wise X, and
That's a hell
although
of a guess.
I am interested in that movie.
I kind of am.
Because there was another movie back in like the late 80s, early 90s that was about imaginary friends, and this looks to maybe up that.
Yeah. And as much as I hate it, I'll watch anything with Ryan Reynolds in it. I just will.
All right.
He doesn't make a bad movie.
So the reason why Seth Rogen is trending is he opened a show last night. The name of the show is Seth Rogen Smokes a Bowl, and he lit a giant bong.
That'll do it.
And when I say giant, I mean giant.
Yeah, no, I got to. I'm
Yeah,
immediately. Have to
yeah.
look at it.
I just don't.
Oh, I thought you meant giant, like he would hold it. No, it is like the size of a small building.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't know what's coming out of that thing. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it could.
Somewhere Willie Nelson smiles.
There could have been a lot of money I allegedly spent on whatever's in that.
That was the happiest stadium full of people in the history of stadiums full of people.
Depending on if it's outdoor or indoor. I mean, that's,
I think it was the Hollywood Bowl, so outdoor. Still hilarious.
Okay, so which way the wind is blowing, I suppose.
Hey, that's it for us. Coming up on tomorrow's show, we got Evan Lee of the Greenville Triumph. He'll be joining us at 7:40. Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will join us at 8:40. Tyson Jeffers working on a time, but the GM of the new Spartanburg baseball team. He will join us coming up on tomorrow's show as well. And, of course, we'll get you all set up for the weekend as a whole. Texter says, go outside, nerd. Yeah, not today. Y'all have a great rest of your Friday. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but somehow even better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! There you have it, kids. Yet another slightly better than mediocre show in the books.
Hey, despite what you think, it ain't easy.
Pimpin' ain't easy.
You saying pint night, and I think fight night. I can't.
Pint night!
Which is something they absolutely would also yell. So,
all right, dudes and dudettes. We got stuff to do. Thank you guys very much.
Stop yelling.
For being here.
Stop it.
Oh, how long have I been blurry?
I don't know.
I'm blurry. All right. Well, I'm turning off the stream because I'm blurry.
Dude, you're blurry to me right now, just looking over there. So.
Glasses on, Gramps.
No, it's I'm not tired.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Tell your friends about us. Bye. Did you just head nod to people?
I always do that.